Taco Bell and chilling. Nice, dude.
Was that the difference between January 6th and the protest that's happening tomorrow is a lot of people are doing that protest from home. Those, especially those who can't participate in the rallies that are going to happen.
What a
Which,
protest!
because I like, it's like I have young ones that depend on me, so I can't actively go out and do what I want to do. So
Oh, but if you were if you had enough conviction, you would do it. Why don't you have the conviction?
it's what's considered a blackout protest, and you're gonna sit there, you're gonna compare that to January 6th. I
That's
don't get it.
wild. Yeah, that was wild. Go ahead and hop in. Never left. So we had to kind of lay in that plane, but go ahead and hop back in. Never left.
What's the protest about?
Eating some Taco Bell and chilling. Nice, bro. Good stuff.
Protesting meta. What else?
Yes, they may have been let in, but that doesn't mean that whether they are or not, doesn't mean that the violent people who beat police officers and tase them and all that other stuff that they should have been given a pardon. I think most people can agree that being physically violent with others is not okay, and they shouldn't be given a pardon for that.
The people who sexually abuse.
Well, I mean, there's lots of people who get pardons that have been physically abusive and violent to others by presidents. I believe most recently, I think Biden pardoned like a PDF file from a long time ago. I can't think of his name, but someone was telling me like he kind of got caught up in like in between things where he was like he was in jail like mostly stuck with like a drug charge, but I think it was like there was like some violent crimes against like a child and a mother. My grandmother was telling me about this. He got pardoned. Oh, gone. So people get pardoned all the time. It's the president's constitutional right to do so. And I like it. That's how it goes.
It's different because blah 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 blah.
That's
blah.
not true.
Well, maybe not for
So
you.
will you
But
admit
it has
Trump's a
been in
piece of shit
lives.
for using his power to let the January Sixers who hurt people off?
Yeah.
I just admitted Biden was a piece of shit for his pardons. Will you admit Trump is for his pardons?
Yeah, for that.
I'll try and talk directly into it. Sorry, Madhouse. It's me just being lazy and not talking directly into it like I should. Let me know if that's better.
Appropriate time, then yeah. But I guess that's not
Okay.
the point of a
That's
pardon.
more than a good amount of people that we've had conversations with.
Josh,
Right.
they literally did pardon some of the violent ones.
So I mean, we'll like the last few days we've been in these lives, and there's been multiple times where we can call out some of the most egregious stuff, especially the violent ones. And just the person in the comments, he did
Well,
pardon violent offenders, and he also pardoned the guy who created Silk Road. And just go ahead and look at that because
I
that's
already know about
been
that.
more
Silk Road.
the thing is we have a lot of people like they will just justify
Well,
every single little thing, and that's kind of scary.
I don't. I mean, there. It, it's a pardon for a reason, and their pardons, like the really violent ones, from what I understand, they were left on the records. So
But they should still be serving jail time. They admitted to
Right.
some of them have no remorse, and they
I don't care if it's on their record or not.
It
I want
depends
them
because
in
I know
jail.
it depends because I know some of these people did solitary confinement for a really long time.
Yeah, I mean, but
serve their sentence. We're
I'm gonna
violent.
say it depends. I'm sure there's one or two that should still be in there.
Yes, solitary
see,
confinement.
to
Josh
me,
says
like
Silk
this
Road
is
guy
the
is goaded. Are you insane? You realize he had a dark web website that allowed for, you know, tra-
It's weird because like if you go the one thing I have to say, like when you go down a list like one by one on all these things, it's really easy to like, oh, you see this thing? What a piece of crap he is. See this thing? What a piece of garbage they are. Like it's really easy to go like point by point and like, but this is the one problem I have with when people are talking about like Elon Musk and all the stuff that he was doing, like his, you know, his Sig Heil or whatever, the alleged Sig Heil. No one takes into consideration everything that he's ever done and just how awkward of a guy he is anyway, and eccentric of a guy. So, like, would I've maybe advised him to do something a little different? Maybe, but I think we're looking at like it's a balance of two different things. It's one, him being like a meme, and the other part is him like it's the tism, right? Kind of coming through. There's been a lot of people who are basically saying like this is exactly what happens when like someone like this they're socially awkward, they get on stage, they're not used to the, you know, like being in that limelight. I muted it, and you know while I'm talking, I'm just muting it. But I'm not in the call or anything. I'm just I was listening to what they were saying.
I'm not saying I don't really defend the Silk Road guy. I don't really know much about it. I just know that he had a website and people, from what I understand, people misused it.
You were defending him.
Probably.
People. So it was a dark web website that was used for selling you know, yeah,
Illegal
schmucks.
goods. Just
Illegal goods, as well as illegally having people who are in traffic driving on the website, and I think there was some other, I can't remember.
What's up, Birdman? I must say your face tattoo looks awesome. Great job. Face tattoo? Where? Talking about? You got no face tattoo? Crazy. Crazy. Yo, what's up, Scotty? Good to see you over there on YouTube. What's up, brother?
Really just a ploy for America to still get control of TikTok. So yeah.
What if
Goodbye
we got
brownie points, Trump.
What if we got a cut from the TikTok?
I don't give a shit. I don't want America involved in it.
And I'd say that.
Yet here he is live on TikTok. What? What?
I would rather China have my data.
Who did you vote?
Which
Wait, what? Did he say that? Really? You would rather China has his data? This is the weird part about it. I was like, why don't you move to these countries? Why don't you really go live in China and see what it's like to have like everything you have controlled under one app? If you say one wrong thing and step out of line, all that shit gets locked down. You think wrong, they lock down your entire apartment building. An alleged criminal around, they just lock down the apartment building. They weld the doors shut and you can't get out. Yeah, they seem like a real nice bunch. Some real swell fellas over there. I'd rather they have all my data. Okay, go live there. Jerk off. People are just crazy. Your cousin married a girl from Shanghai? Probably ask her like how difficult it was for her to leave. Like I've heard they lock down their citizens pretty hard. Like you have to ask permission to leave the country. That's nuts.
Yes.
Okay, please come play poker with me. Please, I beg you. I've got a lot of things to sell you.
Well, it's the way they were using the data.
It does. We now have proof they didn't give a shit. Never mind that the same politicians that were voting on this, never mind that the politicians that were voting against TikTok for the danger it presented were on the motherfucking app. Never mind that. They also now are okay with it so long as we own 50%. It has nothing to do with the fucking data. They want control.
And
They don't.
Yeah, I mean our actual foreign adversaries, they don't want to have control over a vast majority of people's data. Like it's an understandable thing. You know, I mean, you just replace it with any other country. Do you want Iran to have all of our all of our data, all of our geolocations? Would you want Russia to have them? Would you like Afghanistan? Would you hand over that information to any other adversary? That really becomes the question. And they would probably say, well, no. Well, it's the same thing. It's just we're not in a violent conflict with them, but we're still like not on like necessarily good terms. Like Trump is trying to get on better terms, and he's always trying to be more diplomatic with them. But we also know that Trump is not a pushover when it comes to foreign affairs. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm live on Twitch and on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, smash the like button for me. Give me a comment. We got a goal of 5 super chats, 5 more. Just for fun.
They were, and I have somewhat of a background. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I went to school for criminal justice, and I've participated in a lot of different things in regards to law because I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. Their arguments were shaky at best.
But then she couldn't hack it.
Articulate how it posed a danger, and it's also like sort of like putting the cart before the horse, or you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. They didn't have any proof, any really thorough proof of how it was negatively impacting. Other websites have done the same thing, and it was sold our data. So I mean, it's just it's not right for a government to be controlling that. And I'd say that of everybody.
Most people who I know aren't defending, like, knows or understands the fact that Americans don't want their data scraped from every single app that they use and then sold to the lowest bidder. I think most people are against that. The issue is that it's being collected and distributed by foreign adversaries. That's the problem. That is the problem.
The same group so that they create a network together. No other app does that as successfully as TikTok. So it's not just that people were talking about him. It's that I post about Luigi or Mario's brother. I don't know if TikTok cares still or not. And then I flip and I'm like, hey, he's talking about him too. And then I flip, I'm like, oh, he likes him too. Because the algorithm realizes I like him and shows me how many other people are saying the exact fucking things I am. And once we all get together, it's like, holy shit, there's a shit ton of us. You can't do that on fucking YouTube. And that's why I was getting pissed at these fucking 80-year-old senators. Fucking, these guys need to get the fuck out of office. If you're 80, 90 years old, get the fuck out of office because you don't know what's happening.
They only mean that about the Republican ones, by the way. They don't care that they got to wheel Nancy Pelosi out or what's her name, the Democrat there. That was like dying in her seat. Breadman says, Shags, I'd like to tell that Lyft picking up the big lady, his car tires, lives matter. That lady was about to flatten him. Yeah. It's funny.
Be term limits. They should not be able to buy stocks. They should be forbidden from buying stocks. They should for sure have term limits. I think you should have one term per senator and 3 per House of Representatives. And I also don't think that they should be on the 3 terms with House of Representatives and stuff, because I think if you fulfill 3 terms, you get to continue getting those benefits for the rest of your life. They get like yeah, exactly. So I mean, I think most people on both sides. I think probably everybody in here agrees that they should be able to trade stocks if they get information before anybody else. That there should be term limits, and that there should be what was the other age cap. And I think that's regardless of party. I thought Biden was cool for sure.
Yeah.
Hard to hear you.
Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can fix it.
Better.
But what I was saying was, you could tune into almost any Congress meeting, and even like research it now, and they're sleeping.
Who's sleeping?
It confuses me. Like they get paid to sleep while
and these are guys talking about American like poor people not working hard enough and shit.
Exactly.
Don't show up for votes. Now,
Yeah.
I think it's understandable if you have like a reason to not show up for a vote, like you have like a funeral or like you just gave birth. And I think there was a bill that they just tried to reject where some member of Congress, actually, no, I think it was a Republican member of Congress. I think she just gave birth or she's pregnant and she just wanted to see if she could have someone vote in proxy because, like, obviously, just right after you have a baby, that should be somewhat of an exception. But also, we can also bring up the fact that there was a member of Congress that was just missing for like 6 months. That was kind of fun.
Oh yeah, she was in an old folks home.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was also the doctor that came out and said that he has prescribed Alzheimer or memory loss related medication for our members
Which
in
is
the
crazy.
government.
And I honestly, I was like, well, I don't know about Chuck Grassley. I forget how old he is, but like Dianne Feinstein, I'm like, why is she still in Congress? This woman doesn't
Right.
even know what's going on. She has no cognitive understanding what's going on behind her because she was so old, and she was in Congress I mean, she was technically in Congress until the day she unalived, which is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, I love that the idea of trickle down economics is not unalived yet. Like we've tried it for 4 decades now, and income disparity has only gotten worse. Income disparity is worse than it has ever
What's
been
up,
in
Brahma?
this country.
Come on,
And
man.
we still think if we keep giving the rich all our money, somehow it'll eventually make its way back to us. It's the biggest scam we've ever seen in our country, and the
Well,
entire
now
country has fallen for it. It's amazing.
they
I,
convince people that the rich care about it too.
Yeah.
well, I think no
It's
one
okay. Give us
believes.
your money. Give us your money and you'll see it back. That's how it works.
Who
Wow.
who believes that trickle down economics still works? I know lots of
Uh,
conservatives who are like, no way, that's not working. Like we
well,
know.
so I mean, I don't think the thing is conservatives won't like use the term trickle down economics, but I think they still believe in its concept. They won't say it, but I think they do.
Some of them will. Though, wasn't there one the other night that was like very valiantly defending trickle down economics, or maybe that was another live that I was in, but there was
I
one that
mean,
was like really defending it, and I'm like, it's
any conservative that refuses to raise
It's not
taxes on the rich, to me,
yeah.
must believe in trickle down economics.
What do you
If you
They're
mean?
not
refuse to raise taxes on the rich,
directly.
Can I ask what you
They're
mean
huh?
by
not
raise taxes
directly
on the rich?
saying
Well, I mean, well, one, cut out the loopholes which would raise their taxes, but also the tax rate on the richest in America, I believe, is between 25-30%. It used to be like 90 under Eisenhower. Now, I'm not saying we have to go to 90, but I wouldn't be against it for the richest among us. I would certainly go as high as 60 or 70 once you've reached billionaire status.
Well, you do realize that the people you're talking about don't have conventional income the way you and I do, right? Because
Right.
the majority of taxes
Yeah,
is
I
gathered
understand.
from income tax.
it's
Yeah, I
still
understand.
measurable. Measurable income is
Regardless,
taxable.
Right, and they pay the people who do have a high measurable, like have high income, are taxed a lot, like more than me.
They are taxed. They tax. Of course, they make more than us. They're
Right.
gonna be taxed
So
more than us.
so how do you solve
But
the
wait,
they're
you're
not
problem?
talking
taxed
dollar
to
for
the
dollar, not
same
percent.
amount.
Wait,
They're
Shags,
not
you're talking about
taxed to
dollar
the
for
same
dollar, not
amount.
percent,
A
right?
guy who takes home
Percent.
$300,000 or $150,000 a year is getting taxed at a higher rate than myself because
No,
they're making.
it
That's
looks
not
more
true. That's
because
not true.
it
It's not.
looks more because of their larger income. It is not
Wait,
the
that
same
what you're
percentage.
saying is, yeah, what you're saying is false. They pay more dollars, but the rate is very comparable.
Oh,
It's
okay.
about
I
the
see what
same.
you're saying. So they're not. We're not taking enough of their money. So, but this is becomes the question. Really, is
No,
So here's
they're
the thing,
not
though.
paying enough to.
When you're
We
talking
are
about someone
required to
making,
pay taxes like they are.
so my thing is anybody making up to 100,000, I would probably leave alone. 100,000 is not rich. Like you're getting comfortable, but you're not rich. but it's certainly
Depends on where you are.
people making. I mean, I guess, yeah, certainly if you live in like L.A. or New York, maybe, but anywhere else in the country, you're probably pretty comfortable. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't I don't make tax plans, so I'm not gonna throw out numbers. But certainly when you start getting to the richest among us, and certainly when you start accounting for the tax deductions they have, yeah, they're not paying nearly enough.
Well, yeah,
I think someone he's like Elon Musk. I think I can't. I'll see if I can find the exact tweet where he like tweeted about how much he paid in federal income tax or whatever, and I think someone
Yeah.
commented back that's like 11. That's like I'll find it so I can.
he
know.
doesn't.
Some of
But he
these
doesn't
guys
make an
pay
income. You
nothing.
guys understand that, right? Like he's like all these people, like, and it's not just people like Elon or Bill Gates or people like that. It's people who like their assets aren't liquid. Like Trump or Elon can't just go to the bank and take out $9 billion. Like that's not how it works. You guys understand that, right?
Well, yes,
Of course we understand that, dude.
It just doesn't sound like it.
I'm sorry, but you're patronizing us. Like you
No,
act
I'm not.
like we don't understand.
You are.
Well, you kind of are. Like, so you're acting like we don't understand his $400 billion is not in all liquid cash. Yes, we understand that.
Okay. That's
Some of
good.
his
But like the
assets.
dude could also afford to send himself to space. So like I really
Right,
don't want to hear
right.
it.
Yeah. The dude literally sent a dick into space, and you're acting like he
has
oh,
tunnels
all
under
$400
LA.
billion is just part of his company. He really is quite poor. He doesn't have money to throw at the government.
No, I didn't
just
say
enough
that.
to throw a
But
space. That was a good point.
he also assumes all the risk of all that stuff. I mean, there's also so he has all that stuff that the companies are worth
Right,
that
and
much.
right, and that's why that risk is why you never have to worry about money again.
That no, he does have to worry about because if those companies fail, he doesn't have
No,
that money.
he never has to worry about money again.
That's not
We
that's
can
not
very-
true because that the money
He has
doesn't
to worry
exist
about
in
the
his.
success of his company.
What's that? Sorry,
The money
Ghost.
does exist. It does not exist. The money exists not physically.
Right.
It's digitally existent. So it does
This
exist.
is why
He
Bitcoin
does
is
not
all the
have to worry
craze.
about
Shags,
his company's making
even
money. His money,
even his ownership
money,
within the company and shit. Sorry, but I just want to make a quick point. Even the ownership in the company and shit, it's still value that he can use. Correct?
Yeah. I mean, but it's again, it's
Well, the only answer is yes because this is how he bought X.
his stock, and ownership.
yes.
It's also how
So
he
this
bought
idea,
Tesla.
this idea that we can't put value on their ownership in their companies and shit is ludicrous. Like, and of the $400 billion that he's worth, I understand it's not all liquid. How much do you think is liquid?
I don't even want to guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'd be far off, but
Yeah.
I feel very comfortable saying that the liquid amount would be in the billions.
No,
I don't think so, man.
No?
No.
I don't know. I feel like it would be, but okay.
No, because again,
I don't think it costs exactly millions to launch a spaceship.
These are all assets, man. Like they become tax shelters. That's why he's not paying that much in income tax because one, he doesn't make a conventional paycheck.
What we're talking about.
I know, but the thing is, so here's the thing, right? And this is a point that like even Trump made at some point is these things exist because everyone can use them.
It's taxable.
What's that?
No.
So at some point, his ownership in this company gets.
In school.
Wait, so at some point, his ownership in these companies gets liquidated, right?
If he does, but that's I don't believe that would be a good idea.
Well, I'm not saying all at once, but I mean, so for instance, we've seen I think it was Mark Zuckerberg was selling portions of Facebook. Like somebody made a big post about it, but it was just automatic. It was liquidating certain percents of Facebook, probably very small percents every week or something like that. I'm sure just a thing he does. When that ownership gets liquidated, slowly but surely, he gets money from that, and that would get taxed, right? Or is there a loophole that says that when you liquidate your ownership in a company, it's just fucking yours because you're rich and good job?
No. I don't think that's the thing. I mean, that's a capital gains tax. Is what you're describing. It sounds like to me. Again, I'm not an expert on this stuff. But
so you're saying there is a tax?
Yeah, which he pays.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at right.
So 20% on $1 billion.
Even though all his right, but so even at some point, the ownership within that company slowly gets liquidated or traded or whatever, and then liquidated by somebody else, and then that would be taxed.
Yeah, he should pay. He should pay that tax. Everyone has to pay that tax. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. The fact that I feel like it's cop out to be like, well, most of their money is in this, so it's like there's no way to tax.
Well, like, let's not forget that any donations made to charities can be written off as what is that? Okay. They can be written off your taxes. Right. They don't count.
Yeah. You can do the very same thing, and you should.
Let's be clear. So, like,
give your friend without tax. Give your friend, I believe it's 100,000 or 500,000.
So here's the thing too. Like, Elon Musk is obviously the richest man in the world, but the reason I said I feel like his liquid is probably in like billions. Like, so the Mario's brother thing, they started showing the annual salary of many of the healthcare CEOs, and I was seeing 50 million with some of them a year, 100 million, I believe, with a couple. Like, I was seeing quite a lot, if I remember that right. I think it was quite a lot. It might not have been that much. It might have been, no, I'm pretty sure it was in the millions a year. But so, anyways, there's 800 billionaires, but there's millions of people owning banks and healthcare, corrupt fucking companies and car companies and, just whatever, Walmart owners that are making hundreds of millions of dollars every year and pay no taxes on it. And sure, I'm sure a percent of that is ownership in the company and stuff too, but a lot of it is liquid, and a lot of it they pay close to no taxes on.
Well,
I think you're minimizing the degree to which rich people get away with not paying taxes.
No, I mean, I think there's a way to extract money from them, but I think saying tax the rich is a cop out, and I think there's no solution being offered. There's no solution being offered, though. You're saying tax the rich. Okay, we can get more money from them, but the argument always is,
okay,
the money would be better in someone else's hands. When I don't see the logic in that, but also, like, all the stuff you're also describing is stuff that you can do to minimize your own taxes. You should all talk at once so I can hear you.
Wait, so one, really quick, just one, that's literally how you stimulate the economy. And two, I'm not necessarily saying you just give it to people. So one, and let's say it were a horse trade. Let's say you and me were president. I would probably accept some other ideas too. Like, for instance, some people say, like, stop giving foreign aid to certain countries. There's some we have to, like, either for bases or to stop them from attacking us or whatever. Conservatives don't seem to understand that. But assuming there are countries we can stop giving foreign aid to, fine. I would probably want to pull back the military as well. We don't need to have, military bigger than the next 8 countries combined or whatever it is now. Whatever.
You must like Trump
money
then.
From a bunch of different.
No, we do. We do need a strong military. I can disagree with you.
Well, I didn't say you don't need a strong military. I didn't say you don't need a strong military, but the wasteful spending in the military is absolutely outrageous. You could absolutely pull money from the military without hurting.
Price gouging. No.
Yeah, the price gouging is.
No, it's not just because they're price gouging, though. It's no. So I was in the military.
Literally the price gouging. One bolt of 50 cents.
It's that also.
Like $28.
Well, no, it's that also. Ridiculous. But it's not just that. It's also wasteful spending by the military. They build things they don't need. They buy things they don't need. Because if they don't spend every penny of their money, it goes down the following year. So they have to spend it all. So they just buy a bunch of shit.
Build things that are needed. They can use their resources to build things in other countries and our countries that are useful to the
Yo, whose
civilian
keyboard is
populations,
that?
but they don't.
Damn.
Wait, so you're
Alex.
familiar with this
Not me.
phenomenon of quarterly and yearly spending, though, right? Where you have to spend the
Yes,
money you have, or it goes down next year.
but they also have
It's
to approve
Ghost.
projects. They have to approve operations and stuff like that.
So
Which
wait, are you saying you don't think it's possible to reduce military spending without weakening our military?
no, I'm saying we wouldn't need to. We need to redirect the military and start utilize them to well, firstly, we need to deal with the price gouging
Corruption
because it's
was
ridiculous.
still and always will
Because
be
we
at
shouldn't
every
be
level. Yeah, I
spending
agree.
$28
I agree.
on one bulb.
Sure movements.
But what I'm
Good to see
saying
Well,
you.
is
it depends
the
because
U.S. military used to we build things overseas. We do build schools, we build roads, we do that, but we don't do it enough. We have the funding to do it in every country we touch, but we don't. We have the money to do it in our country with just
Yeah.
the military
here's the
funding,
thing,
but
though.
we don't.
Here's
That's
the
what I'm
thing: is
saying.
sometimes these things get misunderstood. So, for instance, there's an example of the military. It was like this ashtray, that cost like, I don't know, a couple $100s or something for an ashtray, and a big deal was made of it. And it was explained that like when you broke this ashtray, it broke into three distinct pieces. Like it didn't shatter. So it was talking about like on submarines, fucking like when things are fucking shaking shit. It's like you have enough shit to worry about down there than this fucking ashtray fucking shattering and hurting, cutting somebody or some shit. It's like, so sometimes, all that to just say that sometimes the spending, there's a reason for it that we don't understand. But if there are examples of spending that truly is just price gouging, sure. But in either case, I think there are ways to reduce military spending and military wasteful spending to pull funds from that. I don't care one
I'm
way or
on.
another, but I'm just saying if you were to pull money from all these different places, some from foreign aid, some from the
Yeah.
military, some from
Yep.
raising taxes on the
Well,
rich, that's really all I
why I
was trying to
don't
get at.
think we need to do that is because we really need to reevaluate all the government programs that we put money into because there are
Well,
many
you
that
can
are
do both.
useful
You can do both.
and wasteful. But
Doge,
I
Well, yeah,
baby.
think
no, you
we
can do
could
both.
Doge,
put
let's
them under.
go.
Yeah, but you can do both. So that's, but what I was gonna say is that what I would do is, for instance, I would work towards like free daycare for working parents, things like that. So you don't have to hand people money without daycare costs almost as much as rent. It's fucking outrageous.
Bro, where are you getting that
So
money
little
from?
breaks like that, huh?
Where are you getting that money from?
For
What
daycare?
money?
Yeah.
It literally, like, the
I
information's
literally just
free.
explained
You
it.
can look at any daycare website. As somebody with 3 kids,
I have 2 kids.
I'm currently jobless
Wait, no, are
because
you?
I
Daycare.
have.
Oh, are you asking where I would get the money for the free daycare?
Yeah, I mean, everyone always has these pipe dreams of free this, free
The
that.
I
Where are
just
you?
we put
explained.
into
Wait,
the taxes we put into the
Shags. I
government is
just
where we would get the
explained where I
money.
would get it. I just explained where I would get it.
The
Okay.
taxes we put into the government that they are wasting.
Yeah.
Wait, so did you hear the whole thing where I said I would raise taxes on the rich and cut military wasteful spending and pull back some foreign aid if there's areas we can pull back foreign aid, find wasteful spending like that, and then I would use that money and not necessarily give it directly to people like you were saying,
Yeah.
but do things like offer free daycare for working parents. So that's where I'd get it.
Now you say you, but like obviously the world doesn't work that way. How, like, what is the
It
process?
could.
What, you just say, point and say we're doing this, like dictator style?
That's what the government does.
No, the government would vote on something like that to happen, and then they would approve
Right.
it through the
Of course.
right. That's what you mean, not just.
So what I'm illustrating is what ought happen if the government weren't full of piece of shit motherfuckers.
Right. Well, and not to mention, like, not even like pulling from the military necessarily, but like the fact that there was a side by side picture, and
Infrastructure,
if you
that's a
guys
good
want,
one, yeah.
I can look it up, but there was a side by side picture of our military, and granted, the police aren't like this in every state and every city, but there are some like precincts out there who are definitely overpowered for what?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's a lot of wasteful spending that we could pull back to make these things happen if we wanted to.
So here's another question, because like I think about this when it comes to how we're using them. So what about people who don't have kids, don't plan on having kids? Are they're supposed to pay into these things for other people to have?
Yes,
Like,
because we all pay taxes
Yes,
for
this is
things
how
that we
taxes
don't
work.
do.
yeah, but they're
We
not.
This is
They're
how
not going to use
taxes
those
work.
systems.
roads.
Why should they
I
have to pay for
pay
them?
don't
I
know.
pay taxes for roads I don't drive on. Do you?
Right,
Right.
Yes,
right.
you do.
Yeah.
So
I pay
is
for
it
Yeah,
things
No,
your
that
no,
don't
choice
my
need
if
to.
you use
taxes
them
go
or
to the
not?
roads I drive on.
I
Absolutely.
no,
Wait,
it
wait,
doesn't.
Shags.
It goes to your
Hold on.
local
So
roads, even if you don't drive on them.
this,
Your taxes also go to schools that you don't use.
but there's so
My
many
kids go to the
examples too. Like
schools that I'm
wait,
paying
this
for.
always drives this. Wait, this always drives me crazy. This idea that you have to agree with or benefit from where your taxes are going, because I didn't agree with either of the two wars that Bush plunged us into. But
You
guess
don't
what?
now
That's where
either.
my tax money went. I don't necessarily agree with all of the projects that are funded by Congress, all the farmers, and all the pork barrel spending that they use my taxes for to waste trillions and trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
But guess what? That's where it fucking goes. You don't have to benefit from the taxes. What happens is we all pay in taxes, and the government uses that for the benefit of society.
You make the world a better
They're
place,
supposed to
and
use
when you
it
make the
for
world
the
a
They're
better
benefit.
place,
supposed to.
the world
That's
becomes
the
a safer
idea.
place.
Yeah, the idea is that they use your taxes for the protection and the benefit of society.
It's hard to understand when your keyboard's clacking.
Yeah,
Stop
but it
preaching
just
bullshit
so
from
yeah,
Max, please.
the fact yes. So here's the thing: is to answer your question, parents with no kids would pay into the taxes and maybe not benefit in that way, but I'm sure there would be other ways we could make taxes benefit them as well. Maybe somebody mentioned infrastructure projects, so maybe we also use some of the taxes to work on our fucking horrible ass roads and bridges that are falling a fucking apart in this country. Or we do what like FDR did. So with him, it was building a highway system, right? I believe that was under FDR's New Deal. But instead, maybe we try to develop a transportation system like Europe has, to where you don't have to own a car in this country. Something like that would be nice.
I am for a little bit overhauling some of like the local roads and stuff because like where I live, I mean our state flower is basically
So talk to your fucking local municipality. They want to use federal funds to do the local stuff. What, are these people out of their mind?
fix the ones that need to be fixed. But I do think the infrastructure bill is a good thing. But I mean, just my particular city, I'm not super happy with.
Since I've lived in my city, they've fixed the same stretch of highway 3 times and have yet to touch the road that my grandma lived on for almost 10 years.
Right.
And they
Like
don't.
I hold on, you go ahead and talk.
I was about to say that they don't even invest in new forms of technology because the asphalt is kind of like an old, outdated way of having road systems. And they have people that have invented things that are way more, innovative and beneficial for the environment, but they haven't, even really put much of a thought, it seems, into implementing that as a new option.
It's also
Yeah.
illegal to do it without government clearance. Even if you are even if you do it and you are certified, you will
Yeah, I
still
wanna
be
fill my
found
pot.
guilty and they will dig it up.
Our country, I will say, majorly failed by not adapting the road system, and I'm not the road system. Wow, I don't know what I'm talking about. Train system. We had a great opportunity. I go to Europe relatively often. You can get like I'll give you an example. One of my best friends is a flight attendant, so I've flown non-revenue. I've flown on flight benefits before. Sometimes that's flying standby, so sometimes you get stuck places. I got stuck in Paris. There was no way I was going to be able to get out of Paris and I needed to work in a couple of days, so I needed to get back. I was able to take a train really easily to Frankfurt and get out through there because I saw there was a lot of seats open on a flight out of Frankfurt. But if it was another a thing like that, I need to get 5 hours of I don't know how many miles, but 5 hours away. That's not possible, really, unless you live on the East Coast
Yeah,
of.
you're
Um,
talking about the
unless-
size of Texas versus the size of like. It's not the scale is the problem with
no, I'm saying
trains.
we made a great failure. I'm saying that we made a great failure by not like dealing with that early on, and now it's kind of it's impossible to fix.
It's
I'm
no,
saying
it's
I'm
not.
not
It's
saying
impossible. The scale is
Can
too
I
much.
back?
You know
Can
what
I
I'm saying?
backpack off of
No,
what
it's
you're
not.
saying?
It is.
Japan
Ghost.
has
backpack off
Go
of
back
trains
to your
what
that can
keyboard.
travel. No, Japan. All right,
This
listen.
isn't dude. This
it's
isn't
not
personal.
clacking. Yes,
I just
it
can't
is
hear
for
when
Wait,
he
you don't
talks
need to
because he's
be.
over there
I
click
got
clack.
it. I got it. I got it. All right, can I talk now?
Sure
Thank
thing.
you. Be respectful. Japan has made trains that can travel over large distances over little time. So your statement that it is such a large distance is wrong.
I mean, he's okay. So he's actually not wrong because the literal geographical distance is not that big compared to the United States. However, you are right in the sense that there's newer technology available for trains that go quite fast, so distance shouldn't matter that much. At the same time, you know, the issue is our country bought into lobbied money to create highways and roads instead of an infrastructure for trains and or maybe buses or like community transportation like Europe did, and that has set us back in efficiency by a long haul. Like even in our own country, the East Coast tends to have better transportation versus the West Coast because the West Coast bought into the Ford Motors, and they lobbied to create more roadways for cars, not necessarily for public metropolitan areas and having uh, more efficient transportation system.
And I would also argue
and I,
that
I
you
want to
don't want the federal government involved, like overall, in the transportation system. What we really want to argue for is the local municipalities to work on their infrastructure to build a solid like transportation system. Because I lived in suburbs and worked like with people like they just rode the buses and they were awesome. They were on
Wait.
time. And I also lived in places that
Yeah.
you weren't able to. But that's not a
I
federal
just
thing.
think
By the way,
I just think that. Oh, sorry. I'm saying like I'm not, and let me just clarify. I don't mean that I think that I want to be able to take a train from like Maine to like to like California and have it be quick. I just mean like based on miles, I was able to get from Paris to Frankfurt. So I would say if I wanted to get something that was the same amount of miles in America, if I wasn't on the East Coast, that's like I mean you can take Amtrak, but it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. It's just a failure that we continue to not
right.
really invest in that. I mean, at this point, it's kind of it's going to be impossible to really do that. But like, if you're on the East Coast, you can benefit for those type of things. You live on the West Coast, not even in like places like LA, they have a little bit of transportation, but like the where I live, they don't have buses that cover like a good portion of like the city. So if
And
you
it
don't
takes
have
like
a
an
car,
hour.
you're
So,
yeah, that too. If you don't have a car, you're screwed.
really quick, I'm a rabbit trail for just a second, going back to one of our earlier points because I just looked up because I was just curious. We were talking about liquid cash of billionaires. I saw something estimated Bill Gates's net worth in liquidity was 40 billion, and I saw something saying that Elon Musk had sold shares in Tesla worth like 30 billion or something. So I do feel confident saying with my chest that these guys are worth probably tens of billions still in liquid cash. But anyways, continue. I just wanted to mention that.
Can I also? Somebody brought up the fact that they were uncomfortable with their tax money going towards schools. Was that true, or was that an example?
They would they say they were comfortable with what?
It was an example.
Oh,
Okay, because I was about to say like, You must really just want to engage with stupid people, don't you? Because like, if you don't pay for schools, then you're just gonna be like doomed to be around mostly people who aren't educated.
Well, and like that's the other scary thing is like, yeah, money is now getting pulled from different like things, but like, the Department of Education should not have been one of them.
Right.
I disagree.
Oh God.
Oh God, what?
So you can't just say
Yeah,
that.
why would
do
we
you-
dump?
Don't just.
Why do
Why
you
would we
disagree?
put money
Make
into
a
our
point.
kids' education? That's
Because
absurd.
I think you could look at all the money that have been thrown at some of these schools throughout the years that just don't like it doesn't matter how much money they get from the Department of Education. It's squandered. The bad teachers are protected. There's no incentive for good teachers to stick
bad
around.
teachers,
It's not a
the bad
funding issue.
teachers.
It is a inside issue. It's not a funding issue. Your point isn't
Okay, so-
even connected.
Do you know enough about education system in America to like know where that most of the money that supports schools comes from?
I guess I don't. Go ahead and lay it on me.
Okay, so usually public schools are paid for through public funding in the local area. So property tax normally
Yes, I
is
do know
what
that.
funds.
Yep.
Yeah,
I know
so
that much.
you
Yeah.
know if you live in a wealthy area, you tend to have more property tax going towards public schools, whereas lower income areas, redlined areas, have less money going into public schools, which brings the issue of inequitable education. Now, we also have people in the public sector that keep advocating for public school funds to go to charter schools. And that is a complicated issue within itself.
Yeah.
But more so, we are seeing that, lower tier one schools needing more public funding or federal funding in order to stay afloat, while also not having proper education programs that pipeline new educators into the public school sector. So we have a shortage of educational instructors for K through 12, and we have a lack of affordable programs that allow people to attain the education to fulfill those jobs.
So where it sounds like where the federal funding is going is the schools that he is not describing with the wasteful funding. The ones with the wasteful funding are in the probably higher district, I don't know, areas where it's
there's
not getting
different
federal
tiers.
funding.
So,
It's
Yeah.
not being spread equally into the
Let
benefit
me-
of the children.
here's an example. Great example. I live in Ogden, Utah, and we just had 6 elementary schools shut down. And after this year, there are schools, because they got shut down, they will cease to exist, and those kids are getting transferred over to different schools and things like that. But to sit there and say, like, funds were being squandered, these were not poor. What is the word I'm looking for?
Red line?
Yeah, these were not redline schools. These were schools that were necessary because the nearest school after that for some kids was like almost 120 miles away and things like that. Like, I don't have exact numbers or exact
The
things to
nearest
look up,
school
but
for the
I
kid
can
was
tell you.
120 miles away. Not in Ogden, Utah.
Oh, it's
That happens.
oh,
That happens.
I don't even think you understand how big Ogden is. The
I
fact
do,
that I
actually.
can't walk
More than you
from-
know.
Either which way,
Well, then your outrage shouldn't be there, I don't think.
Well, she's wrong. There's no.
She's
What?
not wrong. You think she's wrong. That is your opinion. You do not know.
I live down the
she goes
road
through.
from Ogden. I'm telling you right now, there's not.
Where do you,
People are
where do
not
you
going to
live?
schools because they're 120 miles away. That's a lie.
Where do you live?
I'm not
That's
I'm not
not
telling
what I
where
said.
I
What I
live.
said was
I live
that
in
is not what
Madison,
I
Okay, I'll
said.
tell you.
Wisconsin.
I live near
What
the Air
I
Force
said.
Base.
Well,
I live near the Air Force Base. She knows what I'm
yeah.
talking about.
So you live on an Air Force
Hold up.
base.
Just
Let's
outside
let
of
her
New
Hold on,
York.
clarify.
let her clarify.
But what I said was, for some kids, because their elementary school got shut down, the next closest school could be 120 miles away.
No.
And that's
No.
that's a real life example coming from somebody that I know. I won't say names or anything like that, but that's coming from a real life example.
Maybe
Because people forget that Ogden extends into the mountains. People forget that Ogden has a literal South Ogden.
even if
That's
that were the
considered a whole
case, they
different
would
part of the
drive through Ogden
city.
Canyon and hit the next
That there's an
township.
industrial part of the city and an actual city and a rural part of the city.
Yes, I know.
It is freaking huge and it's insane.
I know all the areas.
And the fact
I'm
that we
telling
had
you,
like 6 elementary schools shut down, and I don't even know how many middle schools or anything like that. Focused on the elementary schools because my kids are getting ready
I
to
know
go there.
the elementary
But
school
Wait,
right
wait.
next to me
it's
shut down
ridiculous.
because there's
I
not
have
enough
a quick
kids.
question, either for Auntie or C's, or whoever has the answer. What's I could look at, but again, I don't want to pause. What's the average teacher's salary, give or
Oh,
take?
that's
35,000 or
about
something?
it's any no, it's anywhere. It depends on where you live.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
New York or LA. Like,
So I would say I think it's like 45,000. But I could be wrong. I
Okay.
can look it up if you would like.
it's not as bad as I thought it was then.
U.S. average teacher
In Utah, it's 56
salary.
grand.
I was just gonna add also to the school thing. It also depends what district you reside in. Because I lived when I was younger in middle school. I lived in a district of another city, and I was in the middle of my city.
Holy shit. Okay.
What'd you get?
So as of 2024, the average teacher salary in the United States is approximately 69,554.
Oh, wow.
However, this can vary significantly by state. For example, California is 95,160.
That's fine.
New York is 92,222. Mississippi is 47,162. So the starting salaries also differ, with the national average starting teacher salary being around 38,000.
Nobody wants to talk about why that is. It's because these areas have completely different costs of living, and it's very evident.
Well, no, we get that.
That's true. That is totally
We
true.
get
That's
that.
literally the point that people are trying to make.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say that that's actually better than I thought. I mean, good for teachers. It sounds like they're making a somewhat decent salary there.
No, that
but I
takes
will
into
say
account
I
all teachers though, from like private schools and stuff like that too.
sure. But
That's
so
why
that
it's
said,
so high.
I will say this is an opinion what I'm about to say, but I think what bothers me is that, like for instance, he mentioned briefly about like bad teachers, and I think this is one of the reasons I despise Fox News, because I think that we see a couple examples of outrageous behavior by a teacher here or there, and then teachers are all getting highlighted in a bad light. And I don't think
That's
our
wrong.
teachers. Do you have anything showing systemic
I didn't say that was systemic.
laziness, neglectful? Well, if it's not systemic, then it's just
No, I didn't say it was systemic. I said that you
example.
can't get rid of it. So listen, teachers unions protect all of their employees, even the bad ones. It's very difficult to fire a bad teacher. It's very difficult. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying there's a systemic. If there's a systemic problem, it's the
I mean,
union.
I feel like it should be.
That is a blanket statement, though. You're basically making this very black and white when it's not.
I am not
Because
actually.
Also,
no, let me finish. A teacher's union is not federally determined. So,
I
like,
know.
each district has its own union.
Yep.
And therefore, each union is individualized per the what they vote upon for their area. So sometimes it is really difficult to fire a teacher, but
but
sometimes
it
it's
should be.
not. I
No,
agree.
Like,
It should be hard.
well, no, so Shags, like you literally just described every union. So, for
I
instance,
know.
even though we disagree with it, back the blue conservatives, I feel like would disagree with you if you don't like unions, because that's the only reason many of these officers that are unaliving people still just get traded department to department because they're protected by their unions.
Yeah, I don't
And
know.
they don't get
Personally, I don't
adequate
know anyone
training.
who's for that. I think that's awful. Bad cops should be rooted out and thrown in the garbage.
I mean, conservatives still seem to be supporting. Uh, I don't know.
Leftists support a lot of stupid shit too, but we're
Bad
not.
cops,
That's just how it
are
goes.
still getting let go.
What?
I mean, I
So
guess I just said, yeah.
I would like to point out though that teachers do not get adequate training. They have an underfunded set of regulatory practices
Yeah.
when it comes to keeping and onboarding teachers around the United States. So, it is really safe to say that a teacher wouldn't probably be as bad of a teacher if they had better HR management. So, like, HR is in charge of hiring teachers, so they wouldn't be hiring bad teachers if they weren't desperate. And that's
Well,
because of
and
underfunding.
so I've got a question, Shag. A couple questions. They're quick, but when you were growing up, did you ever encounter a bad teacher?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay, that what made them bad?
Uh,
I'm trying to understand your definition of a bad teacher.
well, it's also. I mean, so I,
Like, so
coming
wait, the
from
teacher
my
you encountered that you have in mind, were they bad enough that you think they should have been fired?
yeah, I mean they weren't very thorough in their job. Like I never felt like I was actually like learning. They spent a lot of time um
I mean, most kids
engaging with the
don't, but
fairer
continue.
sex. What's that?
Sorry, most kids don't, but continue.
Okay. Yeah, like they were very they seemed very neglectful to the subjects they were teaching. They spent a lot of time fraternizing with the fairer sex. They they were
Is
kind of
this during class hours?
oh yeah, and even more so after, but like even like during it was like a little bit weird, and
I mean,
people
I don't
just
really care what they were doing after.
no, I'm saying like after the class in school time. You know what I mean? Like so, still during school hours.
Yeah.
So still very
Right,
inappropriate.
but I don't care.
Okay.
I mean, I don't really care. Like, if
Really, a
there's
grown
public
man
displays
flirting
of
with an underage girl, you don't care that that's happening? It
it,
can only happen during school hours?
it,
You did not say
if
flirting, so
it,
don't
You
change your
didn't
wording.
I
You
did.
didn't clarify
I
that.
absolutely did.
Said
No,
you
said
said talking with. You just said flirting for the first time. Do
Okay.
not. We are all
Okay,
fucking
I
listening.
stand
so
corrected.
well, you also, again, just I don't know. I guess there's context. I guess I'll trust you that they were openly flirting within earshot of kids while kids were watching them,
Yeah, this was
which to me
known
would
too.
just be weird.
This was known and
I mean, that's fine.
discussed.
I mean, I'll be honest with you.
so. Where did
I
you
still
go to
don't know if I would
school?
fire them for
I
that.
grew up in Connecticut.
But
Okay,
I
so
still don't know
Connecticut,
if I would fire a teacher
Massachusetts.
for that.
Did you report
Okay.
them?
I mean, I was at the
Okay,
time I
no,
was
no, 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 no,
in
no, no, no.
seventh grade. I
We're
was
not gonna
14,
go.
maybe. So.
We're not gonna go down that road, and I have very, very good reasons as to why. Because victim blaming is not okay, and what he is you're a he, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, just clarifying. I want to be respectful.
No, appreciate
So
it.
we're not gonna victim blame a 13-year-old boy for not reporting that behavior. Which that behavior, what he described, is absolutely unethical and completely inappropriate. What he later on described was a teacher that was fraternizing with the fair opposite sex that was underage, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's totally
Okay.
fine.
This
Well,
is a
I mean,
10-year
so
teacher.
yeah,
Additionally,
that definitely
on top of that, I want to know how old
wasn't
are
mentioned
you?
at first.
I know, and it got lost in translation, so I'm clarifying this so that we understand what he's actually saying. On top of that, I want to know what year range this was. Was this like 2000s, 90s?
Let's see. I guess it was 98, 99, I think.
Okay, so this was definitely
Or
during a
yeah.
generational time in which was before the Me Too movement and was before we had updated political measures in regards to public aid and education.
Oh, but
So
that's
this was definitely.
it's always been
What were you about to
inappropriate
say?
to engage in this. I don't know if you know that, but
No. I'm not saying that's not
Well,
what I'm
with the younger
refuting.
children, absolutely.
right.
I'm not refuting that at all. I'm not refuting that at all. What I'm saying is like
I think she's talking about the awareness brought about by the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
True.
so this culture has shifted and changed in schools. Like what you are used to or what you experienced through the public school system as a kid is different now than it was back then. And making judgments based off of your experience is warranted, but also needs to take in consideration that there's been significant changes since you went to school, and that needs to be thought about with your conclusions in regards to the subject.
Yep. For instance, there's better technology and things out now and compare like you everything is on camera. There's not a darn thing you couldn't look up that you wouldn't see on camera outside of like really sadistic stuff. Like, and I'm pretty sure you could find that too. But nowadays it's way easier. I'm not saying that like it's perfect, but it's way easier to catch a lot of these teachers who are predators. And it's been shown time and time again that these guys get caught. Granted, too little, too late, because kids have been harmed in that process.
Right.
But
let me your point's well taken, but let me even say, like, I mean, even judging these teachers based on what they should be doing, like that stuff they shouldn't be doing automatically, no adult ever. But like, are these teachers who are in, this is my thought process when it comes to the protection, quote unquote, of bad teachers. Are these bad teachers being protected even though they're not driving scores up? They're not driving literacy rates up. All the things that they should be doing, because that should determine if you keep your job or not. You're there to teach. You're supposed to have, these kids should be at a certain cognitive level by a certain age. And if they're not, cognitive level is not the right thing. But test scores and all that.
Here's my thing.
Sorry.
Here's my thing is if we're gonna try to, let's say, overhaul our teaching system or address the teaching system for maximum efficiency for our kids to drive whatever up, we really need to overhaul our entire education system, which was developed a century ago to indoctrinate our population for obedience and to be able to work very simplistic, repetitive jobs. It was never about intelligence and that kind of thing. So, I mean, if we were really going to take a shot at this, I think we'd have to overhaul our entire education system in a way that could really drive children towards success in the modern world.
No arguments for me
yes,
there,
I
man.
100% agree.
Pointed to that too as well. I feel like the standardized testing can make it difficult because sometimes you have to focus so much on that rather than trying to teach and lift
Yep.
up your students.
Yeah, we still do that. It doesn't make any sense why we do it either, because the majority of the countries that we have allyship with have faded away from the standardized testing culture.
Not to mention
Yeah,
Common
now,
Core. Like I've looked at that stuff and I'm like,
oh my
what is
God,
this?
Their homework systems.
it's so bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like definitely I feel like in the last 10 years that education has gone down plus 10, 20 years.
well, this is what
Especially
this is
after
what
COVID.
all I mean, right? My final thought on this Department of Education thing. Since the Department of Education, we've gone from like 2 in the world to about 27th, I think was the last. So is there a correlation
Who the
there?
hell were we two?
Huh? Before the Department of
were we two
Education
in
was in place,
education?
when that was implemented, we were second in the world in education. And since then, we've fallen. Maybe the stat is a little off, but I'm just saying, like, that right there, I have to wonder, is there a correlation? Now, correlation doesn't equal causation, but I have to think that there's some connection to it. And that's
But
all I mean.
I think we could just. I think here's my thing. Not in disagreement. Like there could be like a big overhaul of the Department of Education. I'm sure that there is wasteful spending some places. I'm sure where there's things that are happening that shouldn't be. But I don't think eliminating it is the right idea because you have programs and things like IEP, 504 plans that could be affected by those things. And so totally, let's like look into it. Let's see where we can get rid of the wasteful spending. But personally, I feel like we shouldn't eliminate it.
Yeah, the best part is, and this is something that even Vivek has said when it comes to like Doge and eliminating the Department of Education, it's more so understanding how the Department of Education can work within established agencies. So getting rid of, trimming the fat, and then putting the people who need to be there in the departments that actually work. Not just, it's just a bloated agency. So it's not about like taking this thing and throwing it in the garbage. It's about putting the right people in the right spot. And it sounds like you guys are behind that. You just don't like the person who is advocating for it, which I can understand.
No.
There's no one in the right.
Well,
because here's the thing: Donald Trump is not advocating for that at all.
He's allowing Vivek
Nor
to do it.
are any of the people who are in line to be in the position qualified for the position.
I think you need to realize something here. Donald Trump is trying to like drain the government of providing essential function in regards to public welfare, education, and any type of emergency aid. The reason why the Republican Party is so excited about this is because they fundamentally believe in small government. They want the federal government to be drained and reallocated towards things that they care about, which is war and military, and they're not actually helping any veterans. But that's arguable as well too because of how they are basically treating veterans and vet programs. But ultimately, we are seeing all of these programs being pulled and being drained out of the federal government attemptedly. And that is why we've had such a hard time over the last 30 something, however many decades, years, getting these programs properly funded in the first place. And we see issues in our education system because we allow bad eggs in out of desperation. Also, on top of that, we do not have the infrastructure set up to allocate proper training or education to fill those jobs to begin with. Now, underfunding these programs and draining the funds from the government is going to create more problems. It's going to get worse.
Well, the good news is that these states aren't going to abandon these things. So, again,
my state won't.
Well, no, I don't think. I mean, this is what I mean. This is why I said what I said because you guys are very biased against anything red. So if it's a red idea, it's no good.
That's not true.
Not true at all.
That's not true.
What do you guys think of the income tax bidding? What do you think about Trump wanting to slash the income tax?
I agree with it.
Ooh.
I'm not.
Wait,
I'm
you
not
think about what?
informed enough to really articulate.
You don't have to pay
opinion,
income tax. Done. Do you like it or not?
Yeah, I agree with that. And the reason I agree with it is because I don't think that lower class Americans should be footing the majority of the bill for taxes. But that's not necessarily what's happening. I believe in taxing the oligarchy because, eat the rich. That's what I think. They're exploiting labor and trying to trick us with trickle down economics, and I don't believe in that shit.
It's pretty funny that you say they're exploiting labor as you talk to me on a phone that was mined in cobalt mines by slave labor and children. But you have no outrage of that.
That's exactly my point. What do you think? It's not ironic. I'm literally acknowledging it.
Shags, are there phones that were not created in those countries that are available to us?
I'm just saying. Like, I mean, I'm sick of hearing that argument. You can't. There's no leg to stand on.
Making a point as if we're hypocrites when we're not, because there's not an alternative.
Not to mention,
there is.
been
Sure, there is.
sorry to cut everyone off.
Why
but
aren't you freeing
the
those children?
they're
Because every single, I'll
Hold
tell
on,
you
hold
why.
on.
I'll tell you
Really
why.
quick.
Because I can acknowledge that
You
every
know
single
about it.
human.
You have a phone. You have a phone
Yeah.
made by child slavery.
I
Why
know.
aren't you freeing those children?
Wait,
Because
Shags.
what?
Most jobs require phones, right?
Uh huh.
Okay, there you
Yeah.
go.
Let's get
Yeah.
a landline. I'll walk
Yeah,
into it.
it is.
I can get a landline anywhere.
You have a really big tendency of victim blaming. You know that,
Oh,
right?
shut
It
your
is.
mouth. What?
Landline
It
still
is
uses
really.
materials made
Hold up.
from
I'm
child
not gonna
labor.
shut my mouth, but okay.
It is really hard to get by in today's society without having some access to a
Right.
phone or at the very least the internet, because without those two things you're cut off.
Well, both of
Yeah.
those things
And
you can get in your home or your office.
Wait,
yeah,
Shag.
if you can afford it. If you can
Shag,
afford it.
Shag, I work 2 jobs, 70 hours a week. I'm at home for no more than 10 hours a day.
Okay.
So during the 70 hours a week, my landline is useless to me. If my sister needs to get a hold of me, if something happens to my kids in Virginia, something and their mother needs to get a hold of me, I need a cell phone. A landline is not acceptable, and you're oversimplifying this just to try to make
How
it seem
did the
like we're
world get along without cell phones before this? Can you tell me that?
because
Did they,
here's how.
did we
Here's
always
how
have
we
them?
made the world more fast-paced and more complicated to such a degree that cars are now a necessity and things like phones are now a necessity. And when conservatives act like they're not, I'm not gonna lie, it agitates me.
We also increased work. We increased work expectation. We increased work hours. We
Yes.
increased obligations and responsibilities for survival as a whole, to the point that we were made dependent on anything that's more convenient in regards to managing
Yes.
time. So because
Essentially,
of
we have
that,
demanded more production from those on the bottom while giving them none of the benefits of that expanded
while paying
production.
them less,
We pay them less and demand more production than ever before. It's
which
wild.
is why we're all so exhausted all the time.
Yep.
We have an issue with
And
sleep in
depressed.
this country, sleep apnea, weight, health, all of that. And guess what it relates to? Pollution and overworking ourselves, high cortisol levels.
Yeah.
Tell that to the
Like, I
kids in
really-
China.
They're
Tell that to
Well,
the
you know what? We
underpaid
can't
worker
control
in
that.
China. Tell it to them.
Okay, so you're sitting here. No, you're sitting there and saying that like we are responsible for that somehow.
No, I'm not saying that. I mean, partially, but no, I'm not
Well,
saying that you
why
are.
are you saying that?
Wait,
then?
Shag.
Why is it relevant?
Shag. Why does the company
Because
choose to
woe is
exploit
you. You have to
workers?
work hard. Big fucking deal. Like, stop acting
Wait,
like
no,
not
Shag,
everyone else
Shag.
in the United
Shag,
States has to work
Shag,
hard, or anywhere in the world
Shag,
for that
nobody
matter.
cares about working hard. I have no problem with working 60 hours a week. What I do have a problem with is working 60 hours a week and still not being able to pay my fucking bills.
Yeah, getting paid like you're working 30 hours a week while you're working 60 hours a
Or
week.
fuck it, 20.
Sounds like you're
I
living
know
beyond your
people
means.
who work 80-hour weeks, and so does their partner, and they're living paycheck to paycheck. They're not living they're not living out of their means either. They're not like eating.
This is why
out all
I
the
get
time and things like
agitated
that.
with conservatives. Like, because conservatives are like, big deal, you have to work hard. We're willing to fucking work, man. It's when you're working nonstop, breaking your body, and you're still not able to fucking put a dime towards retirement's a fucking joke. We work from when we're 19 until we're about 60, and hopefully we get 5 or 10 years of peace before we unalive. That's it. We're here just a slave for the rich. That's it.
And then
Yeah.
the funny thing is, hold on, just let me make this point real quick. The funny thing is, people will piggyback off of that and say, okay, if you don't want to do that, go ahead and go get a better education through college, where you end up in debt for the rest of your freaking life. Like,
which is a form of enslavement. Because in order for us to get out of poverty, we have to basically borrow money against the government and work 20, however many years
Shit.
to pay that off. Like I'm $70,000 in debt because of my bachelor's degree, and
Just
that's
really
largely
quick.
because
Why
I
aren't
had
you?
to survive off of loans.
Are
I'm
you
sorry,
not?
really quick. Just to the chat, Josh, we have to say unalive because TikTok apparently doesn't like you to say DEAD. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, you're not using your college degree. Why are you not paying that back?
Okay, so
Because
do you not understand how hard it is to get a job in the first place?
I personally, and perhaps this is my privilege talking, I have not had
I
trouble
can
getting a
tell.
job.
Yeah, I have
Jobs
a
make
problem
up
getting.
degrees too.
Yeah, so
I'll
here's
provide
the
an
thing.
example too, because I finished my degree. I mean, I had like a part time job at the time, but it took me almost a year to be able to like to. First off, it took months for me to, and I was applying every single day. It took me months to get interviews. And some of the interviews I went on, I found out were actually tricks of like their pyramid schemes, or like those work on commissions, even though their thing didn't.
Scams.
Yeah,
Multi-level
so like
marketing.
scams. What was that?
Multi-level marketing.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, like, I mean, it took me months, and I graduated with honors. I mean, luckily I had like a part time job, but like, it took me. I mean, God, like nine. Or actually, I'm trying to think when I graduated. Yeah, no, it took 2 years before I got a decent, like a decent job, and I applied all the time. I filled applications. I went on every interview that I possibly could.
Not to mention that there were a lot of people, and again, speaking from personal perspective, a lot of my friends who have gone to college and actually continue to go to college because they're in a position where they can do that. Um, they find that they're overqualified for some of the starting fields and what they're going to college for. And you're supposed to go to college to get the experience, but then you have these companies who won't hire them on because they have too much experience to do the starting, but can't move up in that company. Like it's ridiculous. There was
Nothing's
zero
enough.
reason. Yeah, there is zero reason why people with master's degrees should have to take lower paying jobs just to make it by. Like,
Yeah.
I don't get it.
What are your degrees in? Can I ask?
I specifically remember applying for something, and it said bachelor's degree required, and they were literally just paying $10 an hour. I'm like, I literally make
Before
more at my job at Target, and they want me to have at the time. I really literally made more, $5 more at my job at Target an hour, and these people wanted me to have a bachelor's degree to get their $10 paying job, like $10 an hour paying job.
What are your
I would
degrees in?
like to
Can I ask?
go after.
What was that?
I
What are your degrees in? Can
so
I ask?
Alex,
Criminal
you go, and
justice.
then can I? I would like to go after you.
Sure, criminal justice.
Okay. What was the other person?
So
I actually couldn't afford to go to college. Voila.
Oh well, I thought two of you said you had degrees. Sorry, that couldn't get jobs.
I the one that has the graduation photo above you has a degree.
What is your degree in? Can I ask?
Yeah, I have a degree in psychology with a specialty in gender sexuality studies. I also have a minor in public health. I am trying to go to grad school right now. However, I was trying to elaborate on a specific situation in regards to why I can't get a job.
Mhm.
So I am partially disabled because I overworked myself in my 20s to the point of disability. I microfractured my lower lumbar over and over again over the span of 6 years, and it has affected my ability to like not get injured easily. So now I'm like a walking eggshell that has cracks in it. So if I fall, I break my back. I have lost over, I think, 11 months of walking in the span of 6 years. So I have multiple episodes of disability where I literally can't walk. Um, I also was in a bike crash after work one day because I was working a political campaign in downtown Seattle. I just had an accident after work where my tire guard slipped into the tire rotation and I crashed. that also affected my health. I also have autism, like a lot of people nowadays are discovering that they have. And I am a level 1 autistic person, but the social issues in regards to like being able to have a job is really difficult. I commonly lose jobs because I can't socialize in a binary way or in a way that's like socially acceptable to a neurotypical environment.
We've done great tonight. Like, and I'm dead serious. I don't know why someone would think that.
Yeah, so I mean, let's be a little bit more complex about how we think about that because in person things are different. This is a phone. I'm using headphones. I'm in the comfort of my own home.
Right.
I could literally be walking around naked with my thumb up my ass and you would have no idea. So the point being though is like, yes, I am intelligent. I should be able to get a job, but I am also obese. I am huge. I am intersex. So I'm both male and female, and I don't look typical for a female. So I commonly get discriminated against for being that way, unless I put in the effort to look pretty. So if I look pretty and cute, and I look like how people want me to look, then I have an easier time. But if I don't, then people treat me like garbage. You also have to understand that, like, I'm 31. It took me a really long time to finish my degree. So I spent from the age of 18 on and off until the age of 31 trying to graduate college. I graduated last year. That was a huge journey. I flunked out of college, spent 7 years away fighting disability, and then went back. Finally got my degree, but still had to fight my university to stay there because I flunked out and kept my old grades. So the reason I flunked out of college was because I was SA'd very severely multiple times, and I went crazy. And there was no help for me in regards to that. So I've been having to live off of welfare for a really long time because I wasn't cognitively functional enough due to mental illness to maintain employment or to make enough money to survive. So, long story short, if I get a job, I need to make sure I get a good job. Because if I get a job, I lose all of my security and benefits and I become homeless. Make sense?
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I also have a really big risk of losing that job because of my track record of being autistic and not having a diagnosis because we have issues with smexism in this country. Like the reason why a lot of females are now coming out in later years with their diagnosis is because the research done for autism diagnostics was based off of white males, not females. So we have an entire multiple decades of generations of females and even people of color who were not properly diagnosed with autism because it was all based off of one singular demographic, and it's mostly a social disability, even though it shouldn't be disability. I digress. The point being, though, is that because of the social deficits and the constructs that our society puts people through, we commonly find that people perform and react differently with their autism based off of the demographic they're born into.
So beautifully spoken. I think you're my favorite person right now.
Thank you.
What, I don't get no love? I'm kidding.
No, Alex is great.
I know. I'm
I
just
like-
kidding. I'm giving you a hard
Hey,
time. I
I'm
had
in.
to throw a joke in there. I had
To be fair, to be fair, I did follow both of you. I even followed Ghost. But like, no, it's just I run into this issue, and this goes back, like everything we've talked about goes to my main point of I hate the government. I hate it entirely, in its entirety. Doesn't matter who's in office, doesn't matter who's in Congress. I hate it all because it went from being red versus blue, which it shouldn't have never been that in the first place, but it went from being red versus blue to the rich versus the poor. And it continues down that road, and the fact that
It's
people
always
sit
been
there,
that way.
yeah, and the fact that people will sit there and defend it irritates me.
Well,
It
there's two
agitates me
things.
because,
Two
like,
things.
I do have more respect for my local government, though. I feel like, for me personally, some of the local government I do like where I live. I think it's to each their own, but I feel like I do have a little bit more respect for local government than I do federal.
Alex, you're weird. You're weird. You don't even go outside. You stay
Okay, you know what? I live
homebody.
where it gets really hot.
inside.
Okay, stop being a hater. I'm not going out during summer. It's 125 degrees.
I know. That's why you shouldn't live there.
But I've been here my whole life.
Okay, see, point in case right there. So the shag, what were you about to say? I
Well,
apologize.
C should be a libertarian then, because libertarians believe that maybe an anarcho-capitalist would probably be the best thing for you because they don't want any government at all. And then, I mean, furthermore, like I just really want to. I'm not. What I'm advocating for is people do what they can to make their situation better in any situation. Like blaming the government for every one of your problems is not the way to go. You've sided with the government quite a bit tonight, even though you're saying that you don't like the government at all. So I would just rethink some of this stuff because I agree with Alex that local government, I think it was Alex that said local government is oftentimes much more manageable. And it's where people should be putting most of their effort. It doesn't matter who wins the presidency. For the most part, it doesn't affect our day-to-day lives. Very, very, I mean, gas prices, maybe. But other than that, most people, the vast majority of people are unaffected.
The Shag, I think you're really talking about yourself right now because to me, I'm about to lose everything, and I don't think you quite inferred that yet.
Everything.
Yes.
Now tell me everything you're about to lose.
I'm about to lose.
They're literally about to put a pause.
No, I don't need you to explain for her. She can explain for me. I need her to explain, not you.
Right. So if this order, whatever the fuck, goes through in regards to government spending, I will likely lose my ability to feed myself, house myself, and take care of myself. Because right now, as a partially disabled person that is struggling to, make ends meet, I am dependent on housing programs, government welfare, food stamps, all that.
I read that none of that was going to be touched as of right now.
So, yeah, you realize they lied, though, right?
Yes, politicians occasionally lie, but
no. This administration in particular lies a bunch, okay? They lie a fuck ton. And so here's the other part.
Really? Do we want to get into lies? Let's go over all the lies that the Democrats told over the last 4 years.
We're not going to be deflective right now because
no.
we're not saying that every single politician hasn't lied. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that this particular administration has lied way more than any other administration that we've seen as of yet, at least for me. So with that being said, we're going to focus on the Trump administration, what they're doing now.
All right.
Because in 8 days, they've managed to cause a bunch of fucking bullshit, and I'm pissed. So they said that Medicare wasn't going to be affected, but guess what? It was totally down this morning, and they couldn't receive funding. Interesting, right? And that wasn't the only program affected. But if you'd like to learn more, I'm sure that Google is quite effective on telling you which programs were directly affected and were lacking access as of today. Because apparently they couldn't receive any funding and they couldn't even get into the system.
Well, it's not like a fountain. They don't turn it off.
I'm dependent. Well, apparently Medicare, Medicaid lost its funding in 1 day.
Yeah, well, that's not even.
And they didn't know why. Right. I am on Medicare and Medicaid, okay?
Yeah,
because I'm partially disabled and I can't work a normal job.
I've used those programs too, by the way.
Well, then you should know better, bud.
No, I know that those are helpful programs. But like I said, from what I read this morning, those programs were not going to affect people that were already attached to them. Now, I'll read into them more because it's definitely something I would like to see. I'm not against some of these social safety nets that are there because they do benefit people. They help get people back on their feet. But it shouldn't be a means to an end. It should always be a carryover to you can get yourself on your feet, figuratively or literally.
Sure. Yeah. So on the other side, like, if you think that, then you probably shouldn't have voted for Trump because he doesn't think that. Okay. He doesn't want any of this to be funded. He wants it gone.
No.
I think
Okay.
the problem is like when we federal grants and stuff, I think like if we like I'll give an example, not that this is an actual thing, but like if it's something like some environmental thing where they're or maybe not environmental, but like it's like we're gonna spend $250,000 seeing how classical music affects birds. Like obviously I feel like we should get rid of stuff like that. Or wasteful programs that really we don't need to be doing stupid research for sure. But like I think most people would agree the stuff that people rely on help, would be things we shouldn't cut. But yeah, for sure, like definitely let's get rid of some grants for things that are useless and that really are not benefiting us.
I don't agree with this country on a lot of levels. I hope you know that, right? Like,
Same here.
I
I'm a
don't think
centrist.
it. Yeah, I'm not a centrist. I'm definitely more of like leaning towards socialism for sure. But I don't think that the way that it's been at all since I've been alive has been great ever. So this whole idea of making America great again, I don't see when it was great or how it's been great because I think everyone's just been fighting to survive since the 1700s, since we got here. Even before
If you
that, I think
don't
we
know,
got here in
if you
what,
don't know the
16?
difference between when we got here to today, you're out of your mind. Like this is the very best time to live, and this is one of the best countries, if not the best country to live in. And that's not me being pompous or like ultra far
That's
right
your opinion.
crazy.
That's your
Nah,
opinion.
you could.
Am I saying that everything has been terrible the entire time? Not necessarily, but I'm definitely saying that we could be doing a lot better than what we're doing right now because here's the thing. I'm still suffering, okay? Because of a lack of equitable resources that aren't helping me get to where I need to go. I would be able to be self-sufficient if they actually fucking helped me in the ways that I need them to help me. But instead, I'm spending most of my time just trying to fill out paperwork, find programs to help me with what I need to get done, and actually get their satisfaction of requirements met in order to get what I need.
Yeah, thanks,
Because
Obama.
getting food stamps, it's not Obama's fault.
Yeah, the
Like this has
Affordable
been
Care Act was awful. It still is. They need to fix it.
they haven't been able to, and you know why?
Bipartisan. They can't come to a bipartisan agreement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's literally our government's
But they could do
consistent
that for TikTok.
Well,
Oh
well,
my
they
God.
didn't. They didn't really
Got a
though.
million
If you
problems. We
if you
gotta go
delete
after
TikTok off
TikTok.
your phone, there's no way to get it back. Like, it's
Mhm.
they didn't really do anything to it. There was a holdover. It sounds like Facebook probably acquired it, and they're trying to migrate something or come to a final deal. But I mean,
Microsoft, I think they said today is looking into buying it, which
yeah,
I'm a little bit more for that than some of the other things I've heard.
Yeah.
they didn't
I
solve
trust
anything.
Microsoft a lot more. I also am from the Seattle area, so I might be a little biased when I say I prefer Microsoft, but they haven't had the same issues as like Meta or Twitter in regards to Elon. Um, they have a better reputation in my opinion when it comes to operating systems. However, I also do know that Microsoft has a tendency of dominating government computer systems. So I also kind of feel a little bit worried about that. I don't feel like the government needs to be involved with our internet programs or our applications as much as
Smart,
they're indicating they would like to.
very smart statement.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. I don't think we are all as differing as we might believe or think. I think that there's just a lot of people that don't have the information that they need to make proper and ethical choices and decisions. Granted, everyone has a different culture, and everyone also has their own perspective, so there is going to be differences always.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we don't all want suffering. We don't all want bad things. But for people to vote for Trump, that's where I'm just like, why the fuck would you do that? Why? It makes no logical sense whatsoever to vote for somebody this fucking stupid.
Well, here's the thing.
He's an idiot.
Yeah,
He's a fucking idiot.
I think you could make the case that he is very brash and idiotic on social media. But the guy, for all his faults, and you could use he's been bankrupt 30 times. He's a billionaire. It doesn't matter how many times he failed. He is far more successful than any of us combined will ever be. You don't get there by being stupid. You don't get there by being stupid.
There by being rich. No, you get there by being rich as a baby.
No,
you get there by being
How many?
You get there by not only being rich through like nepotism and stuff like that, but also like let's pretend like corruption is a thing here because of days.
Do you think that money just becomes a bunch more money? Like you just can do no wrong. Like there's plenty of people who had money who squander it. Like
Donald Trump became a 5.9 billionaire because of various sourcing in regards to real estate, golf club, and resorts, and his social media company.
Right.
Do you think he did that all on his own?
No, neither did Elon. Neither did any other billionaire. Neither did Bill Gates. Neither did anyone.
All of these billionaires that you're referring to started with immense wealth, and you can sit there and say that the Bill Gates' family didn't have wealth. Well, I can personally tell you because I'm from the same city he's from. He was fucking rich. Okay, he started his Microsoft company in a garage. Cool. Doesn't change the fact that he was still fucking rich. His dad was a multi-million-dollar business owner in the Seattle area and helped start Starbucks.
What about Steve Jobs and
I didn't know that. I didn't know he was related to someone who
he helped fund the first CEO of Starbucks and like their whole mission to start that company. Yeah, that was a part of the Bill Gates family. But here's the thing, like you can also argue like Jeff Bezos, for example, like he had a father that was an immigrant and he came from nothing, yada yada yada. But here's what he did do. He came to Seattle and mimicked the same path but different product as Bill Gates.
Yeah, that's how you
basically started working.
That's how business is done.
Okay,
that's
so
how you innovate.
everyone that wants to be a billionaire should move to Seattle, do the same thing that Bill Gates did, and mimic their process. Okay, yeah, that's exactly my point. So it's not realistic for everybody to do it. Okay, he was just the one that did it and got successful.
Okay, so what about someone like Trevor Noah, who comes from really poor South Africa and comes to America and becomes a famous comedian and is a multimillionaire? Is that just something that like you're gonna plenty of those?
So Trevor Noah, who has pretty privilege and
my God, stop it!
Had the ability to start modeling and acting, which was his breakaway. Like, come on now, everyone has something that they got going for them.
Did you read his book?
Either really.
Read his book.
Why would I read Trevor Noah's? I don't.
Why
care
not?
About Trevor Noah.
Why wouldn't you want to hear about the history of a colored man? He's awesome, dude. He's such.
I have better things to do.
Oh. Okay. You don't care.
Yeah, like trying to survive.
Sorry. Can't read a book or listen to an audiobook?
I don't have the budget to buy that book, dude. Are you kidding me?
$5 at Barnes and Noble.
I don't have it.
Or on Amazon.
$5 at Barnes and Noble. Do you know how much money I have right now?
Nope.
I literally have $1 fucking until the first, unless I don't get my benefits next, which I only live off of maybe like $650 a month, because that's including food stamps, which food stamps is $280, and then I get cash benefits from the state, which is about maybe $450. But I just got a boost because they're giving me an additional $200 for vet bills because I have a service dog. But that's not going to go towards vet bills. That's going to go towards dog food because I could barely afford to get dog food on what I was getting before. So you're going to sit here and tell me to spend any bit of my rare little bit of money on extracurricular activities because you have a fascination for Trevor Noah?
No, I have a fascination with someone who comes from being dirt poor and comes to America because they know it's the best place to make a living, and then they become a
so if I publish
multi-millionaire.
my book, so if I publish my book about growing up in a trailer and in low-income housing and how I got a bachelor's degree after being sexually assaulted 12 times, are you going to buy my book and help me become a millionaire?
What's the lesson to be learned?
The lesson to be learned is that life's fucking hard and we all come from scratch and that none of us are special for it.
Okay.
Excuse me, we're not all coming from scratch unless you're part of the 1% oligarchy that apparently came from some type of privilege where they didn't have to experience that much suffering because clearly they're doing just fine.
Or you come from the households who were just barely below the poverty line. Like any household that I've been a part of is well below the poverty line, well below. I'm actually surprised.
Yeah, like $20,000 a year is crazy,
right? I live.
Yeah, we live with cockroaches in our walls.
I live in a house with my mom. My mom actually bought this house back when it was affordable and she could trade it in for like 7 raspberries. But like, her mortgage, she has a 7-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. Can you tell me how much her mortgage is right now?
Wait, sorry, say that again. 7-bedroom.
She has a 7-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. She bought it about 20 years ago. Can you tell me how much her mortgage is?
From 20 years ago? Did she refinance?
20 years ago. Nope. She's been paying the
say
same mortgage for 20 years.
If $500
I'm gonna
a
say
month.
like 1,200.
She pays $374 a month for her
Yeah,
mortgage.
figured it was low.
Damn.
Yeah. Like she was granted when she had the funds and she was smart with the funds when she bought her house. But it's the fact that like I am almost in the same boat she was in and I don't have that same opportunity because I mean I don't want a 7-bedroom house. It's too many rooms to clean if I'm being honest. But
just shut the door and hazard it off.
Yeah, it's the fact that I can't even get a 3-bedroom house without me having to pull out a loan, and that's even with people helping me get into said house without getting on housing either.
My sister and my sister's what can I talk? In-laws. Everybody's from Anaheim. That's where I'm originally from. They bought a house right near Disneyland. Bought it for $30,000 in I think the 70s. They sold that to move closer to Irvine, which is where my sister lives now, so they could be much closer to the kids and be in the same neighborhood. And they sold their house for $750,000. They bought it for $30,000, and because of overtime, $750,000, which is crazy.
They made a $720,000
after like 35, 40 years in the
Oh my freaking god! I hate it.
Yeah, but they had. I mean, it's like they also had to spend a shit ton buying a big chunk of that buying the new house that they were gonna they moved into. So
Can I just say that recommending that I buy a book by Trevor Noah?
Oh my god, you're still on this, dude?
Okay, dude. That's like me trying to like convince you that the Twilight Saga was like the best thing ever.
You mean okay?
It's kind of true.
All right.
I got to the part, like, I didn't love the book, but I got to the part where he imprinted on the baby, and I was like, I'm done. I was like, because I was a teenager when those things came out, and I liked Twilight, and I liked New Moon. Eclipse was like, all right, and then yeah, no, I was like, I'm done. When that finally came out, I got to that chapter, and I was like, I threw the book, and I'm like, I can't. I know I'm not saying it's a good comparison. I'm just.
We can talk about that later if you want, because I'm actually an expert on Twilight.
I don't think anyone's arguing the fact that the housing crisis right now is a pain for everybody. You know, there's I don't know, people, the vast majority of people survive. Like they're able to do it. It's not easy, you know. Like
no.
oh no,
No,
are you
dude.
speaking for everyone?
No.
Do you speak for everyone?
I'm speaking for the housing crisis because there's statistical information that proves that it's not really going well.
I know the housing crisis is not going well. Everything is crazy expensive. People and I for
Why
years
is that?
there's not enough homes, and a lot of the materials are expensive. I mean, crazy.
Incorrect.
Oh,
You
sorry.
should look at.
There's plenty of homes. It's just and one of the biggest problems right now are these
Foreign investors.
These investors that buy up all these houses, and then they
just
jack
sit
up
empty.
the amount. Yeah, they sit yeah, exactly, and then they jack up the prices so that the market is over
Price fixing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like the
the
fact
house
that we
is
don't
empty.
have regulation,
And it's hard to buy a house in that too.
We don't have regulations on who can buy houses, how many houses they can buy, and who these people are like where they're coming from. Okay, because you can be from a different country and buy a house here and not be a citizen. That's a thing.
Yeah.
To
I will
mention,
say,
like,
as
the
You don't want
who
people
tried
to
to buy a
buy?
house recently, and it took.
We want people to buy houses, but we can't fucking buy houses because corporate companies keep buying properties and increasing the housing costs by inflating the prices alternative or artificially through manipulating the market. Do you not understand that?
No, I get it. That's not good. Yeah, I don't want companies doing that.
Yeah, and guess why this is happening? Because of
Donald Trump?
mostly.
Because of Trump?
No, it's not because of Donald Trump. It's because of conservative companies.
Okay. Yeah.
Conservative interests. Because if we really weren't going to prioritize rich people's pockets and their interests, we would have an infrastructure that prioritized American citizens and the people that would like to have homes.
right.
My
And not
apartment that I get. Sorry, I'm going to finish with this one point. My apartment is over $2,500 a month. Okay.
Sounds like you're living beyond your means.
2,500. Okay, so I live in a nice area because I'm from a nice area.
Why?
I grew up in the city next to.
And why do you have a dog?
I grew up. I have a service dog, asshole.
Oh, I didn't know it was a service dog.
It's a service dog.
Oh,
I
so do
literally
you want to
said it
take
was
back?
a fucking service
Do you want
dog.
to take back the asshole part? I didn't hear that.
Okay.
Or
do
can
what
you just
gotta
be
do, bud,
disrespectful
but
and
here's the-
nobody else?
No, if you're disrespectful to me, you get it back tenfold. That's the deal.
All I said is, why do you have a dog living beyond your means? And then you called me an asshole because I didn't have the detail that it was a service dog.
Because I literally said it was a service dog. I think everyone else was able to hear it.
I didn't hear it.
So no, I'm not sorry.
I wouldn't have said that if I knew it was a service dog.
Then maybe get the dick out of your ear. I don't know how else to explain
Yo,
this
what
to
is
you,
your
okay?
deal?
So yeah,
what is
I
your
don't like
deal? Are you trying to
conservative
look
people.
cool for your friends or something?
No, this is just how my pie hole works. Okay. Are you going to discriminate against me because of my
Barf.
culture?
Yeah. Keep going with your
Okay,
pie holes.
Cry me a river, Justin Timberlake. Point being, though, I live in a very nice apartment. And the only reason I am able to have this apartment is because I'm from a rich area that allocates more funding for welfare services, not because of federal funding necessarily, but because of local funding. The federal funding is pretty congruent with all areas. However, I have a voucher. I'm a part of a voucher recipient program. Because I'm a part of that program, they help pay my rent. So my rent is quite low. But I live in a 6 tier area, so they pay more. And that's because I'm from here. I literally grew up in the city next to where I live right now. So, with that being said, the point is, I am very blessed to have this home. However, every month I still have to stress out on figuring out how I'm going to pay my rent because I'm living on a limited budget. I would love to get a job, still working on that, but it's been really fucking difficult because I haven't had a steady job in many years, and that is a red flag for employers. On top of that, if I do get a job, I have to get a really good job because I'm going to lose all of my benefits. I'm going to lose my voucher. I'm going to lose my health care. I'm going to lose my ability to pay my power bill. Like everything is going to get gone. Okay. So it's really expensive to live here, but it would be a better program if they took the money that they're paying towards the rent of this apartment and invested it into a property that I could own. Because in the last however many years I've been on this program, they've invested over $100,000 in paying my rent.
It never makes sense to me why people choose to live beyond their means when they don't have to. Like, there's always a way.
I'm not living beyond my dude.
You
I'm
just
not
said
living
you're
beyond my
struggling to
means.
pay your
It's-
rent every month.
Hold up. So, the voucher program, not every place accepts the voucher program. Not every place will even like consider it as a valid form of payment. It's actually one of the
That's
reasons why
illegal.
I haven't. It's one of the reasons why I haven't even tried to get on the voucher program because
That's not true, though. That's not true. That's discrimination. They have to accept it.
yeah, I really.
So
It's been a
again,
fight.
why not move to a place that is a lower rental area? Like, I
Okay,
don't.
so what you're not understanding the fact that my rent's gonna stay the same regardless of where I go. Okay.
They're always going to
I pay
charge
the
you
same amount wherever I
$2,500,
live.
even if you live in an $800 a month.
Negative. You're not okay.
So explain it.
Okay.
Explain
your
it.
brain cells are fighting for third place right
No,
now.
just
and I'm gonna
explain
try
it.
to help
Don't
you,
be
okay?
rude. Just explain it.
I already did explain it. I did explain it. So, okay, I'm going to explain it again.
Sure.
I'm on a voucher program that helps pay my rent. Okay? I have a leftover remaining balance that I have to pay regardless of where I live because of the voucher program.
So why are
Okay?
you struggling to
It's
pay
not
rent?
a lot. It's not a lot because I'm living on a fixed income that's taking up the majority. Like, I have to pay other bills. Okay? I got to pay for a cell phone. I got to pay for internet. I got to pay for my dog food, vet bills, my own needs like groceries because $280 does not cover all of my groceries in a month. Not here, not at all. I live in a very expensive area, so it's
Go to
quite expensive to live
ChatGPT
in any
and
way,
type in
shape, or
a
form.
recipe. I have $200 a month.
I already know how to do that. I do it all the time.
Okay. You could survive if you
I
wanted
cook
to.
all of my meals. I go to food banks. I store my pantry is packed because I make it. I work at it.
And yet
I really work at
$250 of that
stocking my
voucher
pantry.
is going to rent, which is insanity.
Do you
to
know
me.
how much it costs? Okay, so $250 is going towards my what?
Your rent?
No, that's my food bill.
What is your rent then?
So, okay, so if I get
No, I'm sorry. Your $2,500
$600
is what I meant. Sorry, $2,500 of that voucher is going to your rent.
They pay like no. You're getting it mixed up again. Okay, my rent, and I'm telling you information that I don't have to tell you. Okay, keep that in mind. $2,500 about for my rent of my apartment. Most of it's paid through the voucher. Okay, so the voucher pays the majority of it. I'm left with a remaining couple $100 that I have to pay, like $300 a month, which is really great for an average person. But because I make not a lot of money, and I don't have a lot of money right now coming in, I get maybe $600 a month. Okay, maybe I'm supposed to get about $700, maybe $800. We'll see. But I still haven't received that newly approved income yet from the state. So out of all of that, most of it goes towards rent. The leftover goes towards basic necessities. Okay, and that amount includes food stamps. Food stamps is $285 a month for me. The rest of that, so let's see, that's about $400, maybe $500 I have left to live off of. So if my rent's $300, that leaves me with $200 a month left over. Okay, so what else do I have to pay for? I have to pay for my internet. That's $50. I have to pay for my cell phone. That's $50. That's another $100. What does that leave me with? $100.
So nothing
I still
about
haven't bought dog food.
yeah, I got you.
So I'm living above my means. How? Because I'm gonna pay the same rent regardless of where I go because I'm on a voucher program. Does it make sense? You get it?
It doesn't. I mean, I guess it doesn't make sense to me because, like, if they're deducting something for your rent, and then you're getting the remaining
They make
balance.
sure you pay rent regardless. They always make sure you pay rent. They always make sure that you're paying for your income. Okay? I'm still considered having an income because I'm getting state benefits. Food stamps and cash benefits for disability in the state of Washington is still considered income. They make sure to put that into consideration when they update my rental portion or my voucher. That's how Section 8 works. That's how Bill Clinton intended it when he fixed the program to what it is now.
Okay. I still think, and maybe you're probably the exception. The people I talk to usually are. I think most people are living beyond their means when it comes to when they tell me, "Oh, I can't afford to live on this." God. I'm not talking about you. Remember, you're the exception.
Why don't you try to live off?
I have.
Why don't you try to live off of $600?
So
why don't you try to live off of $600 a month?
I've been poor.
See how, okay, well, you're not really seeming like you've been.
Oh no, I think I'm seeming like I figured out how to live a fairly normal life by not living beyond my means.
So
Sure,
like
so still
me,
victim
for
blaming.
instance.
Got it.
No, I told you you're the exception. I'm not talking about you. You're the exception.
The exception. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm the exception.
So
I'm rare.
real quick here. I am forced to be a stay-at-home mom because it doesn't matter what job my husband currently works right now. Daycare is way too expensive. Way too expensive.
So expensive. My friend works full time and she makes, I think, like $100K because she's a manager of a Wells Fargo. And she was telling me she's fastest, like if she has the kids in daycare, it's now that she tries to reform his work because he works partially at home. It's like $3,000 a month, if not, and that's like the cheaper daycares. Yeah, it's insane because she's got 2 kids, and it's like $3,000 a month, and like
is that full time
like
in
Boynton
daycare?
Beach, Florida. Just no. That's I don't. I think that it's 2 kids. Yeah, I forget all the exact figures because that we had offhand. But yeah, it's like $3,000 pretty much full time, and that's yeah.
Well, it's good. Two things are good. At the end of the year, you can write off your daycare, and it might be up to a certain point, but even still, and you do get your child tax credit, which Trump doubled, so that's really good. I'm glad he did that when he was first in office.
But the situation that I run into is I've tried to look at the state for help when it comes to child funding and getting help through the state for them to pay for daycare. They won't pay for daycare until I have a job. I can't get a job until I find a daycare.
Yeah, no, it's a better process because I work in child welfare and I've put in like referrals for like what out here it's called Urban League, and it's hard to, it's like that weird teetering line of like whether people will get approved for it or not, and it's tough because there's been people who I'm like they need this but they like it's denied, and other people who get approved. I don't know, but there's certain stipulations which make it difficult.
So you're trying to give credit to Trump for creating some type of tax benefit.
No, he just doubled it. I'm not. He didn't create it. He had given more to parents.
Gave more to parents. Do you know more about that?
I think originally it was
I
like.
actually
Go ahead.
I actually know what he's talking about. The child tax credit. It's going to be raised because you're able to write off the amount of childcare you have to pay for every year, which that's something he just implemented. So it's not going to affect this year's taxes, if I believe, but it will affect next year's taxes. I'm not entirely sure
No,
how
this
that
was in.
works.
Sorry.
Didn't he do something else in regards to so people who pay child support get to file as their children as their
Oh yeah, I heard about that. I heard that's like a proposal where if you pay child support, you file as a dependent, which is insane because usually you're not the main parent. And
Absentees.
Wait.
I'm
If you're
not saying that
paying.
some people that pay it are not. I'm just saying that like that's crazy to me because if you're the main, if you're like you're the main parent, it's crazy.
The parent that has primary custody is responsible for anything that doesn't get covered with child support.
I bet there's more nuance to what you're talking about.
Well, the situation is not. It doesn't need that much explanation because what's happening is.
Oh, I'm sure it's more complicated than you're making it out to be.
Okay, well, why don't you look it up?
I will, because this stuff it doesn't affect me, that one directly, but I'm always interested to know like how parents are affected by certain things.
Well, I mean, if you're the main caretaker to the child, you should be able to put that child on your taxes.
Sure.
If someone is working like because it's based off of income. So like look, I could understand how someone may argue that if you're like a millionaire or something and you're paying like a bunch of money for child support versus this other person that like where let's say you're supplementing their income like because you make such a vast majority. Okay, I could understand an argument for that. But there is also, I would say, that the vast majority of people, and I've seen examples of this, are dudes who like don't want to really pay, will get a shittier job, or will work under the table, or like you know what I mean? Like they contribute not nearly as much as the mother is putting in because the mother is handling, and it could be versus or father. Yeah, it could be either way. I've seen both of it. Yeah.
It's manipulating income.
Yeah.
It's manipulating the income so they don't have to pay as much, but
Yeah.
then they don't have to report it for a certain period. So they could get a new job that's higher paying and not have that reported, and they can keep it like on the download to themselves.
Yeah.
And then the only way that they can like find that out is if the other parent speculates that the other parent is making more, and then they have to press the court to like investigate the issue and try to make sure that the other parent is actually making more or less than the actual reporting.
Yeah, and I want to know, like, if they were going to implement that, if that applies to people who are in arrears, because, like, my friend Kimmy, she's got one of her sons. His father has like pretty much avoided working a lot of the times, or he stays a job just long enough where and then he leaves before they can start collecting. So, I mean, in the last year, because he's got other kids and he's married and other stuff, and he has had more consistency. But he's like so far in arrears with what he owes her, and it would not make any logical sense for him and to be able to claim that child on his taxes. She has supported him for his entire life, or like even if I'm just saying the main parent should be always if you're the one that's taking care of the child, you should be the one that claims on the taxes, with the exception of the caveat if it's like maybe you're paying the person's alimony, maybe that's a little bit different. Or if you're paying so much more than like what this other person is, than what the main caretaker is paying, okay, we could argue that's a little bit different of a situation. But if you're just paying child support, doesn't mean you're entitled to pay that child on your taxes.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I think it should go based off of who's actually flipping more of the bill.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or they could have the agreement to split it. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Right? It would be amazing if we could actually split, like, because it's wild to me that, like, if you have two working parents, only one of them get to claim you, which
That's fair. It's split for some people. I think it depends. I don't think it. Yeah, I think it has to be a case by case basis. Because there definitely be people that I know that like that they should definitely not be having to ever share half. But I think there are some people. Yeah, it's like you're right. If you're dual income, you guys are married. Yeah, it's even if you're not married, but you're living together. That's fair.
So I did look up the tax credit that you were referring to, or that we were referring to. So under President Trump's current tax plan, the child credit tax credit remains $2,000 per a qualifying child. However, there are some key points to consider. Expiration of the Tax Cuts and Job Act (TCJA), which increased the child tax credit, is set to expire at the end of 2025. If not extended, the credit could revert to $1,000 per child, so it would be cut in half.
Yes.
Income limits. The current income limit for the full credit are $200,000 for a single filer and $400,000 for a joint filer. If the TCJA expires, these limits could decrease to $75,000 a year for a single filer or $110,000 for a joint filer. Joint filers. Impact on families. It says that if the credit amount decreases and income limits are lowered, many families could see a reduction in their tax benefits. This would particularly affect middle income families who currently benefit from the higher credit and income thresholds. Uncertainty is around the bipartisan support to maintain the current child tax credit levels, but it requires congressional action. Families should stay informed about potential changes and plan accordingly.
Right, and that was something that he implemented in his first presidency, by the way. And he's hoping to to extend that now because it is up this year. So again, it's something. Not all the things that he's done are bad, and has tried to help people.
But it's not talking. Yeah, this isn't talking about the new proposed addition, which I haven't been able to locate my most recent search. Right. So there are what?
I was just gonna say that I've gotta get off because it's midnight for me. But it was lovely chatting with you people. I enjoyed it. I enjoy having these kinds of conversations because I strongly believe that not discussing any politics, regardless of where you're at, gives room for willful ignorance. So
yeah. Well, I appreciate talking with you.
Yeah, it was good talking with you. Have a good day, Susan. Or night.
Yeah, we'll see ya. It's technically day. It is midnight, so okay. Good night, guys.
Bye. If anybody wants to come up, you can request. I can add you guys.
Well, now that I'm looking at the chat, there's this person by the name of Josh that's like incredibly objective. But he'd be just unpopular if he were ugly. He's a smart man, and his intellect is worth more than looks. Okay, talking about Trevor Noah. Someone would. I don't know what that's about. If you could provide value, people will support you. Not necessarily true. That's a terrible comparison. I don't know what you're talking about.
I think that was about the Twilight thing.
I mean, it was a joke, but okay. Liberal companies are just as bad. Yep, they totally are. Then move. Well, I can't move because that costs money that I don't have. That's rude as fuck. Yeah, I can be very rude. I know that. Become self-employed. Yeah, I've tried that before. That's really hard, and I can't do that right now. It costs money. I can't stress this enough. I don't know what you're stressing. True, rude as fuck. Just leave. You want me to leave the panel? I will leave when I'm ready. But okay. I bet you got a Netflix. Yeah, I definitely got a Netflix subscription that I can't afford right now. So I'm actually getting kicked off. So would you like to see my declined payment? Because I will definitely show that to you. Yeah, I was getting some help with some of my bills from some family members, but that stopped because they lost their jobs. I can add people if anyone. Yeah, that's you. So yeah, if anyone
Do
wants to come up and
do
chit
people
chat,
just
like I'm
think
fine.
that there's not jobs around, or like I don't get it? I mean, you're. I mean, I understand your situation. You're different than a lot of people. Um, but I just wonder, like, if
I'm
people just think,
special. I'm special.
yeah,
I think it depends because I do have a friend that's like, I mean, she's been looking for a job for months, and I mean, she's applying like so much, and it's frustrating.
well, it sounds like they're not willing to have a piece of humble pie and do something that might be below their usual station. Is that kind of what it is?
No, she's been applying a fair amount, but I mean, there's other things that come into play. I don't want to delve into too much things, but I mean, she is applying a lot of places and has had a good amount of interviews and not gotten those jobs. And
Okay, but again, sounds like she's applying to things that she's probably qualified for. But now, what about
Yes.
things that like she literally like, you know, just I mean, dare I say, like entry level jobs?
Underqualified.
Huh?
Oh yeah. So the reason I got this. So the reason why it's hard for us to get those jobs too is because the employer is worried that we're overqualified for the job, and their investment of hiring us will be a waste of time because we'll leave once we get a better job. So and then, like honestly, I've had that reaction happen with a job at like Target, which is stupid. Like they didn't want to hire me because I was overqualified, and they thought that I was just going to leave for another position. But I didn't have enough work experience to get a job like a manager or something like that, which would have been suitable towards my education, like being a store director or a manager or something like that, because I have the education for it, but I don't have the work experience to back it up, and that's because I'm partially disabled, so I wasn't able to maintain a job and get those getting job experience in itself is very valuable, and I wish I had it, but because of my injuries, I wasn't able to maintain employment like that.
Or is it, or were you not qualified for that job because of that disability? Because those jobs, often, a lot of times, those jobs at Target require, some physical exertion that you might not be qualified for. That's out of your control,
Well,
right?
if I'm doing something that's like more on the managing side that doesn't require lifting boxes and stocking shelves, then no. But if the job required me lifting boxes and stocking shelves and standing for hours out on end, then that would be a different story. However, like this is also a point in itself, pointing out that we don't have enough equitable opportunities for people with disabilities because I can't stand for hours on end. I can't do it.
What about
Like
working
my
in a call
spine is
center?
way too weak.
What about call center?
I could potentially work at a call center, but the social issues with my autism come in because I'm very inappropriate, and I have a hard time curbing that appropriateness at times because sometimes like my understanding of what's socially appropriate versus not appropriate can become problematic. So like getting me to get a good job and like keep that job is really fucking hard. Really, because I cuss a lot.
You
There's
can't control
times where I
yourself.
like
You can't control
sometimes.
your cussing.
I mean, yeah, I mean, no, it depends, honestly. Like, it depends on my emotional state and if I'm triggered by something or overstimulated. But at the same time, like, I'm not gonna do a Roman
Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah. If you think that that's what it was, if you think that it was a Sig Heil or whatever, then I think you need some re-education. Maybe that degree didn't go far enough.
We'll agree to disagree because
Hey, Alex,
I'm so over this. I've had it for like the last like 5-10 days, and I'm so over it. But I would disagree with you, but to each their own.
Okay.
I'm
Alex, but...
over having the like having to say the same points over and over again. But
well, it's the first time for me, so.
But as the old,
if you want me to, I will.
Are you Jewish?
I don't listen to you all the time, Alex. So this will be the first time you explain this to me. I know you think that everyone listens to you, but
Shag, are you Jewish?
No, I'm not
saying that
everybody listens. I'm not. I don't think that everybody. I'm just saying I've had.
So
I'm a little over the conversation, but I will explain it.
Sure.
I will explain
Alex,
Go ahead.
Alex is the only Jewish person in this conversation.
Oh, okay. That's the only person that could possibly have any useful information for me. Go ahead, Alex.
No, that's not what we're saying. I think she's just saying that like
That's what Auntie's saying.
Maybe somebody. No, I'm saying that like I may be some. No, I don't. Believe me, I know her. We've been talking for a while. I think she just means that like I would be someone who may be more offended than others because of the history of it. But so I mean I don't think necessarily that he's a schmatzy. I do think that he was trying to be controversial and push the buttons. I would be willing to grant him grace if there were more grace due to like his autism if there wasn't a bunch of things that kind of pointed in me forming my opinion, and like I said, to each their own. But there's a couple of things. He has his family has some ties to apartheidism and schmazism. His he has been supportive and recently supportive of the AfD, the far right um, political party in Germany, which believe me, I have plenty of friends who have lived in Germany, and I have friends that are actively are from Germany and live in Germany. And I mean, it is a schmatzi group. It is they are schmatzi sympathizers. He's on his on X, or God, why did I hate that I just called it X. Twitter. He has he's replatformed neo schmatzis and allowed them to monetize, even though they've harassed people, had hate speech, all of that.
Hate speech is free speech.
Yes, but I mean, I don't. He's also banned other people off. I mean, I deleted my Twitter like a few weeks ago, but I've also seen him ban people he just doesn't agree with. So I just, for me personally, there's a few things like that that just kind of make me do that. For me, I also believe that he likes to kind of push the buttons. I think also if he I think he was just I just think he was trying to push the buttons, and that he could have easily just been like, hey, this was not my intent. He's continued to joke about it online. And I think personally, if I was gonna do the thing where I slap my chest, my elbow is facing down. So for me, I think naturally when I would move my hand to do like that, my palm would be facing towards the sky with the bottom of my hand facing towards the ground, and my elbow would be facing towards the thing. So I just feel like it's an unnatural movement. But to each their own about what anybody's beliefs. But I just think that I don't know. I think he panders to that, and I think when you have neo schmatzis on these websites being like, yeah, Elon. I think, I don't know, he plays into it. He plays into that globalism type of thing. He's supporting some of the more extremist.
Did you know that Hitler drank water?
What?
Oh God.
Okay, so here let me point something out here. I think I agree with you a little bit with the whole him kind of like he's a meme. He likes playing into memes. He likes being stupid. I think that coupled with the tisms are a big thing of what he did. But I think he was genuinely thankful for the people that were there. Now, do I think it was appropriate? I probably would have advised him to do something different because it looks the way it does. But
But
would
if you look at these
also hold on. Let me
pictures,
finish.
Okay.
I would
sorry.
also wonder what you think, like, because I've actually seen about a dozen videos of people. They claim that they they're living with some level of autism themselves, and they kind of go over this video as well and say, hey, like, you guys need to chill out. Like, you've all been asked to be accepting of people with disabilities, and now all of a sudden someone like him gets up there and now it's a big problem. What do you mean no, Auntie? Do you want to explain why why they're wrong?
Because autism doesn't mean that you get tics. Like that's not.
Well, you seem to
that's
just
not how it
swear all the
works.
time, so apparently it is.
No, that's different though, because the
Oh, you're
point
different.
being is like I don't do a schmatzy salute in regards to my emotions and feelings when I'm overstimulated. Like that doesn't happen. That is so deliberate. Like to accidentally do that is like
But again,
it is like
so why?
accidentally falling on a dick and being like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm doing you now. Like I didn't mean to do that. Oh my god."
So those who
I
have
would also
autism
say
and who have Asperger's who have said that this is something
So
that
Asperger's doesn't exist anymore. It's not respected by the DSM. It's autism is ranked on a level system.
Sorry, Auntie.
So
I don't read every edition that comes out.
I mean, it's not an edition. It's like a fact.
Yeah,
I'm
there's like
informing you
fourth
about.
edition,
Take
fifth
it how you
edition.
will.
There is editions.
I didn't say there wasn't an
You
edition. I
just
said I'm
said that's not
trying
really
to.
editions. You just said it. We need to
I'm
roll it
not
back.
focusing on it. Okay, so I'm not focusing on editions right now. I'm focusing on informing you about a fact. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, let's go.
Awesome. Okay, yeah. So here's the thing, like if you have a certain level of need, that is how your autism is ranked. It's 1 through 3. So I'm a level 1 autistic person. I don't need much accommodation or assistance because of my autism. Now somebody that's a level 2 might need a little bit to a moderate amount of assistance. A level 3 needs a lot of support and assistance. Now, knowing how autism is categorized and diagnosed, it's really easy to infer that Elon Musk is not a level 2 or a level 3 because
I'm
he
so glad
owns
you're the expert on
multi.
this.
I don't see what that has to do with anything.
It has everything to do with it. Are you his doctor? Are you his psychologist? Like, or psychiatrist,
I'm
whatever
saying
one it is?
infer. So I'm not saying that this is 100% true.
Yeah, I would hope not.
I'm saying that based off of how autism is diagnosed, off of my experience as being an autistic person, he's likely a level 1 autistic person. And he's able to talk publicly. He doesn't need assistance with, at least what we know, he doesn't need assistance with his everyday livelihood. Meaning like he doesn't need help bathing, he doesn't need help with like getting dressed. But granted, I could be wrong. Like he might be super disabled and we just don't know it.
You could be completely wrong. So that's why we should only take your words as like words, and it's something that you might believe based on some education that you have. Like
it's not that. Some education.
Huh? What?
Alex?
I said she did say that though. She said she could be wrong about that. She's
Yeah,
just saying based off of what she sees. And to bring that up, one other thing I do want to point out: this man is at least, first off, I think everybody in the whole pretty much the whole freaking world knows what a schmatzy salute looks like, and knows that it's not an acceptable thing. I would also argue that apparently a lot of people say that he is a genius based on the way he's invested his money and run these companies and all this other thing. But my third thing would be like, if you are well enough versed in Germany to be commenting about their politics currently, then you definitely know what a schmatzy salute is. You definitely know it's not okay. But at the end of the day, my biggest thing is that he's sitting on Twitter joking about it. And it's just, it could have been a simple thing. When you see like a politician, or maybe even a celebrity or anybody like slip and say something where they misstate their words or whatever, what do they usually do? They apologize, say that was not my intention. It could have been so simple for him to be like, that wasn't my intention. Sorry if I offended
I
anybody.
think Elon
What-
is also subscribed to the don't apologize to people either, like, because it doesn't do any good. You wouldn't forgive him even if he did.
I'd give
You
him. I
know,
have more respect for him
I
if I.
don't. Well, I don't believe you. Sorry.
he's just an asshole.
Who is? Elon?
Elon's an asshole for sure.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, sure. You should hear
So
yourself all
he
night.
goes
Like
to
you're not much
he
better of a
he
human.
go. Oh, but I'm an asshole for a definitely better reason. That's for
Oh,
sure.
it's
So he's
so
an asshole
okay.
because he just
Moral
can be.
relativism.
So like, he goes to Burning Man a lot, and I
Okay.
do volunteer.
I think there's a big difference. Let's not compare her to like Elon Musk. There's a difference when you
Yeah, I
are
would
not
say
paying
that Elon Musk has
your level
done
labor.
vastly better
All
things
right,
for
so
humanity than you. Sorry.
okay, the Shag, awesome.
And
So
myself, by
The
the way.
negative
And
things
myself.
too.
awesome, great. So I volunteer with some of my free time that I do get in the summertime, and I plan for this.
Good.
And so I do harm reduction. Which I don't get paid to do, but I provide harm reduction services like smug testing for substances in regards to people that recreationally would like to indulge in use for, parties and raves and stuff like that. So I give education about it. I teach people how not to, get unalived by doing those activities. And I've been doing this for roughly the past decade. And so I've worked with nonprofit organizations all up and down the West Coast, and especially at Burning Man. And so Elon is frequently known for going to Burning Man and doing a lot of these substances, especially the white powdered ones. So one of my campmates, met Elon at his camp and had a conversation with Elon. And she said that it was one of the most disturbing conversations she's ever had in her entire life, because he kept going on and on about how it's the end of the world, and basically like the world's a crappy place and he doesn't care to do anything to help it. And it's like
He's literally trying to
this
make us an interplanetary species. So
I don't.
what?
I'm not saying like this. I wasn't there. This is what I heard. This is just hearsay at this point. But I do want to say that I do believe that he indulges in recreational substance use, especially given the fact that he shows physical signs of it when I see videos of him. I think during this
wait.
let me finish. Let me finish. I'm just telling you what I heard, because that's what I heard from my campmate. I don't think she's a liar, but that's just, it's hearsay. I recognize that. However, being a harm reduction expert, because people in my field don't normally get paid to do what they do, because there's a whole other subject that we could talk about in regards to this. I digress. I know what the characteristics and the physical look is of somebody that's in a K hole. Okay. When you look at his face close up at that inauguration, you see the same physical effects of somebody that's in a K hole. I am pretty determined and pretty conclusive with the fact that I think he was high as balls at that inauguration, and that's why he did it.
No,
There's a video of him
you're
like
gossiping. You're at best you're gossiping. There's
I
nothing
mean, it's
definitive about it.
we
Okay,
don't know for a
so
fact, but he does. I mean, as someone who has, I mean, I work
listen,
with
if you
people who are under the influence, he does exhibit signs. I'm
if
not
you
saying
work with people that are super messed up all the time, like I used to do this all the time, okay? I used to see kids, ravers, have flying saucer eyeballs, chewing their gums, looking around with their eyes sluggishly. Like the symptoms, the characteristics are like night and day to me now, because I've seen it hundreds of times. I've had to intervene in situations that were absolutely insane because somebody was under the influence of substances. It's my expertise, but it doesn't pay any money.
So
I can't do it all the time, so I do it as a volunteer gig. However, I've been doing it for so long, I am telling you as an expert that when I see his video of him at the inauguration, he looks like a dude that did a bunch of white powder before.
so
That's
and
what I'm
someone who allegedly is um, an alleged addict who's
Harm
high
reduction.
functioning, we should not like or respect. Is that what I'm getting out of this?
So we
Who said not respecting?
I'm trying to understand your point of all this.
My point being is that he is totally unfit for being around the White House. My second point being is that he definitely did a sig guile, but he was in a mental state of, oh, this is going to be funny for America to see because he's my own. He is high as balls. That's what I saw. He had the flying saucer eyeballs, the chewing motion with his jaw, and the constant jiggering around, more so than somebody with the level of autism that he has. And you can sit there and say that he has a different level all you want, but let's be real here. He doesn't have a level 2 diagnosis, and even if he did, he wouldn't be doing that shit. That's a level 3 diagnosis, and those kids wear diapers. Okay,
it's kind of been, well, like a lot of people, multiple people, and obviously this is hearsay, but a lot of people have kind of said that he indulges in K a lot to the
he
point
dated
of addiction.
Grimes.
Yeah, but to the point where it's an addiction where he's doing it all the time, which can, I mean, look, I'm not saying that there isn't benefits to that specific thing, because there are people who it has helped with their depression, but when you abuse it, it's not good for you, for your.
Oh, Jalen, would you like to come up and talk?
Yeah, you're welcome to come up. If you want to request, I can put you up. If anybody wants to request, I can let you up. Hello.
Guys, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Canadian.
I'm good. It's a well-known fact he does use K to treat his depression.
Okay.
I don't think he was only on that substance, but
yes,
I believe he was doing something else. I believe Auntie is correct with his eyes, because I've had friends that do the K.
The problem
and
is this, that, like I said, this is all gossip until you actually like.
This is not gossip. He has admitted this in an interview.
I'm not saying that part isn't. I'm saying you guys saying that, oh, he was up there and the only reason he did it was because of this and this and that's, and like you, okay.
Sorry,
he does.
He's not a
We're not
victim.
talking
He's not
about-
a victim. He's not a victim.
I didn't say
Are we
he
not
would.
talking about how he looked like he was shedding his skin at the inauguration? That look where he's looking around all wide-eyed and
like
clearly under the influence. We're not talking about his salute.
That's what we were talking about.
No, yeah, I know.
No,
but
she was talking about substances. That's why I came up.
Sorry. So yeah, I mean, yeah, there was the. Sorry, we maybe should have clarified. So the salute is a little bit different, but we're talking. This was during the inauguration when they were.
Yeah, prior to the
at the inauguration, like way before the speeches and all of this, is when we were inside the Capitol, and you know they Trump and JD Vance were going to be doing their swearing on the whatever. Well, some people said he didn't. I haven't watched the clip, but there is a clip of Elon. He's like looking up at the Capitol, and his eyes are like wide, and he's like
shaking.
He's moving his head in like circle motion, and I mean, he looks high as balls. I've seen a fair amount of people. I don't work in the same capacity as Lo does, but I mean, I have worked in child welfare. I've walked into situations where parents are actively, because I was a CPS investigator for a while. I walked into situations on so many occasions where parents are under the influence.
All right. So what is what are we getting at?
Auntie Lo is correct. I was a former raver, and he is Like
Okay.
he is definitely under the
Jalen.
influence.
Okay.
I
Oh
have
my God,
Anecdotes
Jalen.
aside, what is
Ja-
what is the point of
Hold
all
on a
this?
second. I need to ask her some questions. Jalen,
Sure.
do you know Shambhala?
Shambhala?
You're Canadian,
No.
right?
I'm Canadian, but I'm older than I look.
Okay, well, that's fair.
I'm like an
Well,
OG
Shambhala.
raver before
Then
there
you
was
should know about
Veld and
Shambhala.
mainstream. I do not know.
No, girl. Okay, look up Shambhala, but it's in BC, in Salamo, next to Alberta.
Okay. I'm from
And
Ontario.
that makes sense. So it's on the other side. So
Yeah.
Shambhala is like the #1 dance music festival in the world. And that is where I got training for 2 summers in a row doing spectrum testing for substances. They have an organization that they contract their harm reduction services through called Anchors. And I worked with Anchors. And boy, did we see a lot of cases of kids coming in with, unique substances and concoctions, and
Yeah.
especially ground scores. Because in Canada, the laws are different. So you can go to this festival and openly do your schmugs and get away with it because there's no laws prohibiting you from doing so. It's decriminalized. So, but in order for the event to have insurance, they have to provide testing and harm reduction services, which it's the opposite in the United States, which is why it's this is why I hate Biden. So anyways, point being though, that is the festival that I learned about the actual physical characteristics of seeing somebody that's high as balls on certain types of white powders.
Okay, let's say that you're right, and he's on these white powders, and he's high, and he's at this inauguration. What is the point of it? Are we to demonize him for it? Is he not allowed to be there like that? What are we saying here? What are we getting at?
I don't think he should necessarily be involved in high levels of politics if he is doing that at a event,
He was at a
like an
party.
inauguration.
He was at a party.
Do you think it's okay? Would you
with
be
eyes
okay?
in front of the whole? I mean, everybody's watching. I don't think that's an appropriate time to be doing that. I mean, parents watch that with their children. Older people, lots of people
Who's
watch
watching
that.
the inauguration with their children?
Horrible.
Get real. That's not a family event.
Brother-in-law?
Get out of here.
I don't know. Some people watch that. I don't know.
Are
no-
you kidding me?
For some people.
But yeah,
My sister and
let's
brother-
just
My
listen
mom-
to yourselves. Listen to
My
yourselves.
mom made me watch Reagan's funeral.
Oh, okay.
Question: would you
Man.
go to a job interview in a state like that? So I think we should
Exactly.
hold these people who are representing our country and making decisions for our country or influencing the leaders of our country or a country, I'm not
1000%.
saying mine, to that standard, if not higher.
I'm going to hold
So
every
if a
drug addict to
person
that
came
standard.
in acting like that, making these gestures, doing any of this stuff at a job interview, they would not be hired.
He wasn't going to a
There's
job
no
interview.
way. No, but we're talking a job interview isn't as
Yeah,
doesn't
I
have
wouldn't
the
advocate
standard
for
as
that.
having
Yeah.
being a leader
Okay,
of.
But guess
of a
what?
world,
But guess
of,
what?
like,
Do you know how many
the
people?
nation?
So I worked in the restaurant industry for better part of 20 years. Do you know how many
Okay.
cooks that I had that were so fucking good at what they did, but they came in high every single day? Now, did I fire
Probably
them?
all of them.
Huh? What's that?
Probably all of them.
These are
Yeah,
the same
but they
people that
all-
demonized the president's son, who's a private citizen. He's not even in politics, for being under the influence of substances and doing things. They demonized him, and he's not even in politics.
Oh, they were
So,
demonizing
I
for
don't
other things,
understand
but yeah.
why is
But yeah,
the
you're right.
hypocrisy of not holding.
Well,
the
I don't
same
speak for all
standards that they
conservatives.
held
That's the
Hunter
thing.
Biden to.
I don't speak
You
for
know,
all
I would
conservatives.
prefer somebody to be high as balls cooking my chicken parmesan than being responsible for the future of my country.
But he's
Yeah,
not
I
responsible for the
agree.
future of your country. You made that up in your own dumb head. Like,
Oh,
he's
my dumb
responsible.
head. Okay.
He influenced
So what-
Congress.
How?
Yeah, so not only did he influence
No. Let her answer that
politics by
question. How did he influence Congress?
When they were doing the votes about the what's the ceiling thing, guys? Help me out.
Debt
with your
ceiling. Yes, there was agreed
the
upon.
debt ceiling.
There was a bipartisan
RC?
agreement. Yeah, and he was a bipartisan agreement, and he came in right before it was about to be like signed, and like I said, it was bipartisan. Both sides had agreed to it. And then he started trying to make a big deal of it and having
96 tweets he put out or
Yeah.
something, and then Congress suddenly
Yeah,
had
threatening
to
to
go back
primary
into the
people.
drawing table
Wow.
and change
Really?
things.
That's your evidence that
What position? What
No, they
position
did.
did Donald Trump give Elon when he was elected as president?
He
Because he gave
appointed
him an
him-
office in the White
he
House.
appointed him the head of Doge, which I don't remember the name of it, but it's basically to reel
Department
in.
of Government Efficiency.
Yes. So it was
So how does that not fall in line with what I said?
because it's meant to make the government run better than it is now, not worse.
But it's still
Okay.
it's unprofessional for him to be showing up to an inauguration
okay.
under the influence.
And
of
I
substances.
have the stupid head apparently. Oh my god.
He's going to be
dude.
working in government in a high level position, making decisions. Well, he will, or maybe not making decisions, but
That would affect
giving
the
his-
future of our
giving his-
country.
It's also him
giving
and
his
Vivek.
advice. Well, yes. Well, no, Vivek is. They pretty much have confirmed is going to be pushed out.
Yeah, Vivek's already left. He's
But
not in it anymore.
but so he's going to be influenced. He has the president's ear. He has Trump's ear. So yeah, it's a little freaking unprofessional for him to be at the inauguration tripping on tripping balls. It's just not like.
Allegedly, you don't know for
Let's
sure.
go over.
Allegedly.
Let's go over. No, let's
make
go
sure we're
over.
clear in
it's
our
like
language.
Probably
Let's-
shouldn't be something that you show up pride to.
Let's just be clear.
I feel this is
Innocent till
hypocrisy because if
proven
Biden
guilty.
was acting the way he did, people would have lost their minds.
Who?
If Kamala was acting the way he did, her
Who?
eyes coming out of her head and then doing salutes and stuff, people would have lost their minds.
You're right.
I don't
You're
understand.
totally right.
I don't speak for all
why
conservatives.
There's a different
We don't speak for
standard.
all Democrats.
I know. I know. I'm responding to what you're saying,
I'm trying
not
to
what.
say, if this was anybody else and they're not on your team, you would literally be ripping them apart, going, "They're high." Da, da, da. This is just looking objectively at this.
So here's the difference.
This person was under
Elon's
the
an
influence.
advisor.
You,
Elon's an advisor, and this is how I think of it. Elon's an advisor. Biden and Harris, the president and the vice president. There's a big difference there.
Okay, that's
Big.
that's a fair comparison. But what I'm saying
There's
is
a
that
big
it's-
difference.
I don't think that they're. I don't think
but
it's
he's having,
like.
sorry,
I
go
don't.
ahead.
I don't think it should be. It's necessary. Him being high at the inauguration is just. I think that's not okay.
No, I'm
don't
not
think
saying it's
that-
appropriate. I don't think
Elon is
he
sitting
should have
in
been,
on
but I don't know
meetings.
that he
He's
was.
also having meetings. He's also having Elon Musk is having meetings with foreign leaders without Trump being there.
It's a tale as old as time. It happens all the time. Doesn't necessarily mean it's
That
right,
doesn't
but it happens.
That doesn't excuse the behavior. Are you kidding me? Let's dive into
This is
what
just how
Elon Musk has become
It's a
involved
different-
with politically.
We're not
shall
going to get
we?
into this
He's
conversation.
done social. Okay, we are getting into this conversation.
It's a
whether
whole
you
other
like it or not.
topic,
And if you don't like
Auntie.
it, you can. No, it's not. We're
It
talking
is.
about Elon Musk. He is the picture on the main prompt, dude. How can we not talk about him? He's the reason. Like, this is the start of the conversation. Full circle. Elon Musk has become a significant political force, particularly through his influence on President Donald Trump and certain members of Congress.
Bill Gates was the
key
same way
points
during
in
COVID.
regards to his influence. Okay, you know what? We're not talking about Bill Gates. We're not talking
Just giving
about
you an
COVID.
example. That's
We're
why.
No, that is deflective, okay? And I'm not going to tolerate it because it's bullshit. We're talking about Elon Musk and his influence in politics, okay? So he has been influential through social media campaigns, as Musk had used his social media platform X to voice his opinions on legislative matters.
You just don't like it when it's
Additionally,
used
the
against
direct
you, huh?
No,
You guys
I
had
don't give a
Facebook and
fuck.
Instagram and all those other ones for years, and now that
No,
we have
we're
one,
not talking about that. I deleted all
it's
that
being
shit because I don't agree with
deflective.
it. It is being deflective and it's bad debating. It's super bad debating. Because it's a deflective argument to steer away from something you can't defend. That's the truth. If you actually want to talk about what we've been talking about, which is Elon Musk, instead of deflecting to a totally different subject, then do it. But please understand that you're gonna look fucking stupid. Debating is sticking to the topic at hand. The topic at hand is Elon Musk. We're specifically talking about his political influence and why it's inappropriate for him to behave in the ways that he has. You steering the conversation to a completely different subject is bad debating.
It's not
because
a
you're
different
deflecting
subject.
to a different subject because you're trying to
Maybe if you yell
devalue
louder.
or invalidate any no, you're trying to invalidate anything we have to say by using illogical deflective tactics, which is a form of debate tactic that is completely unethical and is not supported in actual debates.
Okay. Are you done?
Why? Because you don't like being schooled?
No, you're not taking me to school. Like, this is all fun for
Well,
me.
it definitely seems like, okay, I'm sure it's all fun for
It
you.
is fun.
I'm definitely seeing
It is fun. You're the one
I'm
over
seeing
there
the rug
yelling
burn on
in
the
your
face right now.
$2,500 a month apartment. The
Okay,
reason.
so this is why people can't trust conservative people, because we tell you vulnerable personal information willingly, and then you turn around and use it against us.
Oh, I hope it didn't
Like
hurt your
it's
feelings too
something
much.
to
That I told you how much your
invalidate.
rent was.
No, it's not. It doesn't hurt my feelings. What's
Then why-
disappointing is that it's showing how much of a piece of shit you are.
Okay.
Because you're an asshole.
Right.
You're not a
Okay.
good person.
So why I bring up the fact that this is a broken part of the political system in America. It's a very valid part of all of this because it's a tale as old as time at this point. Elon, yes, he has
What the
influence
fuck
over
are you even
things.
talking about?
So they am I
Specifics, dude.
I'm taught you interrupted me.
Yeah, an ambiguous tirade of like illogical. What the fuck are you talking about?
It's just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's illogical. Get an education.
No,
now.
I understand it. It doesn't make any sense as to what we've been talking about.
It makes sense because you want to whine
do
and
better.
cry.
Do
You want to
better.
whine and cry about Elon's
Okay, and
influence
you want to make
over
underhanded
something.
comments. You want to make underhanded comments and insults. So I'm sure that's emotional in itself, because why would you even think to do that? If you didn't care, you wouldn't be making those stupid underhanded comments. Everyone here is emotional. Everyone here has a reason to be emotional. I'm not invalidating that. You are.
Whatever you say. Anyways, what I would like to see in the political system is there to be less of an outside influence from political figures. Now, can I tie whatever thing that you're saying to Elon that he influenced something to happen? No, he may have said something, but it doesn't, like, laying everything at his feet because he happens to have a platform or he owns a platform isn't indicative of anything other than people can communicate on it and share ideas.
Everything I just provided to you can be proven through sources.
And can I counter that, Shags? He has also threatened to primary any people on the Republican Party, and I'm assuming probably the left too, that disagree with him and Trump's agenda and that won't vote for what they want. So if senators disagree with some of the confirmations because some of them are a little bit like more nuts, like Pete Hegseth, let's be realistic, was not qualified for that job. And that's directly from people who I know who are conservatives that have voted for Trump in every single election, who are in the military, who have told me that, like, this dude is not qualified. He's a very low level rank. He hasn't really been in the military for the last 10 years. These jobs require a very, very, very complex understanding of the military that you really only get from being in the military for like 30, 35 years. And that's why they generally give those jobs to like 4-star generals. It's stuff like that, threatening to primary if you don't confirm these people. He has an influence, and he's making these threats about voting. He did that specifically with the bipartisan legislation, the what's it called, the debt ceiling or whatever the hell. I'm a little tired, and it's been a long day, and I only got like 2 hours of sleep last night. But he threatened to primary people who didn't, like people who voted, like Republicans that voted for it.
Yeah, that's
so have an influence, and he has so much money to do that. So that's a little bit scary. And then they feel you know, threaten, and then they're gonna cave to the pressure, which I mean, I don't agree with on either side. I mean, the whole system in general.
Well,
I mean, the whole system in general.
there's
fucked up,
laws in
but,
place
like,
that make that all legal. So like, and yes, there's corruption and blah blah blah, but like there are laws in place that prevent this sort of thing happening. And you guys, I mean, you even said that his act at the inauguration was likely due to him playing to the crowd and being stupid. So there's that part of it. The dude is like a meme king. Like all he does is shit post all day and occasionally makes a political post about something that is conservative. But this is, you know, you have to remember a lot of these people are lifelong Democrats that only recently changed, quote unquote, changed to the Republican side, if that's even what it is. And even those people have said they're not Republican. Like RFK, for example, is another person who has been demonized for aligning himself with Trump, even though he's still a lefty, like 100%. He's a Kennedy, for crying out loud. So I mean, I take with what Elon says with a grain of salt because he doesn't have any real power. Like, sure, maybe he has a little influence and he has some money, but he's part of the, he's been part of.
Elon Musk has immense amounts of power, and denying that in any way, shape, or form is ignorant. It's flat out ignorant.
I agree. Yeah, with that type of money, he has tons of influence. He's that type. When he has that type insane amount of money, he has a lot of influence, and I would argue he has more power. Like has a ton of power. Also, what is your cat's name?
Mine?
I heard a cat meowing. I don't know whose it was. I'm pretty sure it was Shags.
Those are my cats. They are obsessed with food.
Oh my God, you have cats too? I thought you were broke.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
God damn. Someone who's so broke, you have a lot of pets.
Yeah,
I took it.
The reason why you need to like throw like that's what it's like.
No. We're not gonna.
Because I'm sick of people playing a victim when it's a self-imposed victimhood.
Shut the fuck up. No, shut the fuck up.
Be mad.
You're gonna be directly. No, I am gonna be mad because you're directly insulting me because I have animals.
It works.
Like, do you not fucking No, it's why do you want to make somebody upset? That's my concern.
Because you could turn your financial situation around by finding a real home for those animals.
That judgment. That's gossip.
You don't know what gossip is.
You don't know enough. Okay, well, you definitely do not need to be making judgments on my life by any way, shape, or form. You don't have enough information to make those judgments.
I mean, it is.
You gave me all the information. I don't know what you're talking about.
Misogynistic piece of shit. No, you're a misogynistic piece of shit.
Wait, hold on a second. You confirmed your identity was non-binary intersex.
Misogynistic piece of shit. Misogynistic piece of shit.
Oh, okay.
Please.
When it's convenient, that's
twiddle the fucking. Please keep twiddling with the tack between your legs, honestly, because I do not have patience for misogynistic, narcissistic assholes who defend billionaires who are invading our political system.
You're mad because I'm right. You're mad because I'm right.
I'm mad because you're a fucking idiot that thinks he's entitled. You're being an asshole.
No, you're mad because you know you can pull yourself out of this situation, and someone who's trying to empower you to do so.
No, I can't just pull myself out of this situation, and it's not your place to make that judgment.
You can.
You don't know what it feels like. No, you don't. You feel entitled to make opinions.
You don't know me.
You have no place making.
You don't know me.
No, I know you enough to know that you feel entitled to make conclusions and judgments you have no place making, and hypocritically tell me that I also do the same.
You gave me your whole story. I know your whole story.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Oh, you're right. You didn't tell me your
cats. You turned around and tried to weaponize it.
You threw vulnerability in her face. So she was vulnerable, opening about things in her life, and she told you information that she didn't have to, and then you had to.
And you weaponized.
When did I throw a disability in her face? When did I do that, Alex?
You even talking about it is proof in itself. That's not for your fucking mouth hole, asshole. My life and my business.
Alex, when did I weaponize her disability?
You could shut the fuck up or get the fuck out. How about that?
You threw that in her face. You said she's living above her means on multiple occasions. You said that you were having cats. That there's something
judging
that has
me
nothing
about
to do with her
having cats
disability,
in my
Alex.
house.
Nothing to do with her
Okay, so
disability.
what if these cats? What if first of all, what if these cats aren't mine? What if they aren't?
Oh,
What
all
if
of a
I'm
sudden they're
watching them
not?
for somebody?
They're not
She's-
all of a
she's
sudden?
saying
I never said they were my cats. I never said they were my fucking cats.
Okay. Whatever.
Additionally, no, even if I do have cats, what the fuck is it to you?
Because they're
How
expensive.
much does it cost to have a cat? Yeah, no, they're not.
Oh, I have 2 cats. I have 2 cats and a dog, and they're expensive.
Okay, so they're expensive to you, but if I have like some type of assistance taking care of them because they're not my fucking cats, that would be a different story, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess if someone was paying for them, you're right.
Notice how I was telling you my story and I didn't mention owning cats?
Uh-huh.
Huh?
Yeah.
I mentioned a
I'm
service
glad you
dog.
came up with that
That's
quick.
It.
Was some quick movement on your brain right there.
Oh,
Good
because
job.
I don't need to create shit. Okay? I'm not a liar like you.
Excuse me? What lie did you catch me in?
Oh, you've definitely been pulling out some bullshit out of your ass all fucking night, dude.
We've been talking like normal humans, you and I. That's how it's been going.
No, we're not talking like normal humans. You're an entitled, narcissistic asshole that feels entitled to judge other people's lives as if your ethnocentric perspective is better than everyone else's.
I'm clutching my pearls right now.
I'm sure you don't even have pearls. You probably have fucking butt plugs. Come on.
Oh, God. What if I like that?
That's the point, you fucking idiot.
Well, it's not an insult.
All right, let's take a.
No, you're here because you want a reaction, and I'm giving it to you. You're not here to change your mind. You're not here because you want to learn anything. You're here because you want attention, and you're fucking lonely. And the best thing you got is coming on fucking TikTok and arguing with people you're never going to agree with because you're set in your fucking ways. And you
We've
like
actually
to fucking
agreed on
stuff some
things
shit up your
tonight.
ass.
See, this is another lie that you've told.
I'm sure
We've
we
actually
have.
agreed on
I'm sure
things.
we have. Everything with you is performative. Okay?
No, it's not
you're
performative.
And you're entitled and you're misogynistic, and that's proven based off your behavior.
I'm not misogynistic.
You only give empathy when it benefits you. That's what you've proven.
Nope. You're wrong.
Okay, well, if I'm wrong, then why are you proving me right?
I mean, if we're being really honest, I've had to we've had some good
I don't
exchanges.
think you're honest at all.
All right. You can say that
But
all
we
you
were
want.
having good exchanges, and then
It only
throwing
takes
things
one.
in
It only takes one bad, shitty experience to ruin the whole thing.
I guess so.
And you did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
thought we were
definitely
having
did
a
that.
pretty decent time, and then throwing that insult was just like kind of
That's too bad. You know, I mean, it's too bad. I believe that it's totally possible for Auntie to live a better life. And if it is the case that those cats are hers, I think she should, give them up for adoption. It's just how I think of it.
That's not your place to make. It's not your place.
You know, I know it's unsolicited, but it's still, it's still a recommendation.
It's not just unsolicited. It's completely ignorant and unfounded because you don't have all the information.
Right.
You don't have all the
that sounds familiar. Right. Yep. Not having all the information.
And
It's a good lesson that we've all learned tonight, I think.
Yeah, but the only time you brought that up was when you were defending a billionaire that got rich because he came from a family that owned diamond mines.
Yeah. You know, again, if
so
you think that people
you won't defend me though. You'll insult me until the fucking cows come home.
I said that you were a very special case and not a lot of this stuff applies to you.
You haven't said one insulting thing about Elon Musk in this entire conversation.
I think he's
You've
cringe.
said multiple offensive fucking things.
I think Elon
to
is
my face
I think
in this conversation.
I'll tell you right now then. If you will listen, if you'll shut your pie hole, as you like to tell me.
It's too fucking late, dude. The fucking sail has fucking sown. It's fucking gone past the goddamn
The ship has
sunset.
sailed.
And we're here. I don't give a fuck how it goes.
Elon is a cringe meme lord. He doesn't make just like Trump doesn't make good decisions when it comes to his social media. I believe he should probably shut up most of the time. And again, it's fucking cringe. And do I agree that he shouldn't have, if he allegedly was out there doing that, do I think he should have been doing it? No. I think he should be a better example. Like, trust me, I have my criticisms of Republicans, of MAGA, of Elon, of Trump, all of these people, because I am not a Republican. I am a 90s Democrat, is what I am.
I really
so
regret
you're a
asking about
centrist.
cats. I
Well,
really,
it's a
I
90s
really
Democrat.
regret asking about cats. I just wanted to know cat names. That's all I wanted to know, and now it's turned into this.
My cat's name here is Gremlin,
Yeah,
and I have Mo. That's my 2 cats' names.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, anyways, point being though, is that if you're going to actually profess to be somebody that doesn't like these people or doesn't support them, maybe do a better job of showing it because you haven't. Like,
No, I don't. I don't have to blindly be brainwashed about something. I don't have to mindlessly, take talking points from someone and just, regurgitate them. It's not necessary. Some of these people have done good things. Some of these people have done bad things.
You're just trying to be a devil's advocate.
Sometimes it helps.
Are you ever wrong? Like, are you that person that's just never wrong?
Oh no,
because you're coming across as somebody that's never wrong.
I'm wrong plenty of times.
I mean, I definitely know that, but I don't see it in taking accountability for it.
What do I have to take accountability for? What would you like?
Additionally, like the fact that you said you're not misogynistic, the fact that I told you I was queer, I'm intersex female, mind you, but I'm still a woman. Like, I'm a woman, but I can identify as a woman. And you question that as if you have some sort of expertise or authority to do so,
I have eyeballs.
Which is misogynistic. Okay, what is your eyeballs good for?
For
making
seeing.
Presumptuous conclusions?
No, for seeing.
For what? Making presumptuous.
Let's either change the subject about something, I'm kind of also ready to kind of be done.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about this either. I don't know why we're still talking about this.
Because you're. Are you fucking serious?
We're all. I think it's good. Like, look, let's. Is everybody kind of just? So I'm ready to kind of be done. I'm the mod, so. I'm ready to either. I mean, I can. If anybody else wants to come up, and we can change. I'm just kind of. At this point,
I'll give up. As a white man, I'll give up my space for someone else more important because it's 1:30 in the morning and I have to go to bed.
That's not what we're. Okay, come on. That's not what we're saying.
I was being silly by saying what I said, but no, I mean seriously, I'll give up my space for someone else, and someone else can come argue.
I don't know if anybody even wants to come up, and I'm getting a little tired, so I
just boot everybody and end the fucking live.
I don't even know.
For everyone,
can I do that as a mod?
Just so you know, Alex and Auntie, I like these conversations, and while it wasn't always fruitful, we did agree on some things, and we did agree that there were some real things that we come together on. That's the point of these conversations. Yes, we're going to disagree. There's always going to be things we disagree on. And that is nothing to fight about. So thank you for allowing me time to talk. I'm sorry that we got into the back and forth. I was wrong. You were wrong. But that's where I'm at. And like I said, I appreciate it, but I am going to go to bed.
Okay. So. Have a good night.
Yeah. Thank you.
I have a question for you. What is the actual way to play
this? Okay. What is it? Pixel Twitch says, bro, you just laugh at them, not really explaining why they're wrong. Why they wrong? It would not change the way they live. Yeah, I know. That the problem is, Vixel, is that you're not going to change these people's mind. And in some respect, they were right. They weren't going to change my mind on that particular thing. I was trying to do it earlier before you had arrived, but you can't win with everyone. And I think one of the problems I have a lot of times is people making excuses that they can't get out from under a certain rock. Now, I think that particular individual may have had a more difficult time than others because of their vast disabilities, if they were being truthful about them all. But, it is what it is, man. I know some people are going to want to work to get to that point, and it's perfectly acceptable. but don't act like it's impossible to do. Plenty of people out there who are able to, dare I say, pick themselves up from their bootstraps. So, was that? What was your what was your turtle's name? If you adopt a turtle again, feel free to reach out to me for how I didn't adopt a turtle. Yeah, and the thing, and that's what I was gathering. John D. John D. says people often recognize their own. Sorry. John D. says people often don't recognize their own role in their lives. I think that's a really important point. Is what I was getting at. They kept trying to defer to like the government's not doing this, or they keep doing this and not doing that right. And I'm like, but you have so much control over your life, and once you realize that there's ways to do it, and like I'm not perfect at it. Like I suffer from serious procrastination issues, and I get lazy at times, and then I go through big spurts of being motivated. Like it's a part of the journey, you know. But in that, like you're able to do some pretty awesome shit, or you can if you work hard. And I'm sick of people making excuses that they can't do it because of billionaires or because the top 1% is not paying their fair share. And it's like, do you even understand what you're saying? Do you even get it? It's just brutal. Yeah, never discuss her cat. I don't even know where to begin with regard to describing what I just listened for the past 30 minutes. Well, I did 2 hours of that shit, 2.5 hours of that shit. So I will say, as a native, the government definitely screws people over, just not like how she thought. Yeah, no. And the thing is, it's a pretty complex issue. Most of this stuff is pretty complex. But the solution is often pretty simple. Don't be reliant on the government. You don't need to be. I still don't understand the voucher program. I need to look into that more. I don't understand how she's living in a $2,500 a month apartment and only has $300 a month for groceries. I don't get it. It might be cutting out. Sorry. I'm like moving away from my mic. Vixel Twitch says, well, I would argue with them about economics, about gold standard, for example. I'm pro gold standard, by the way, or about the taxes only slow up economic growth and don't really help people. We were kind of talking about that in the beginning. We didn't get into gold standard, though. That was a missed opportunity. We kind of got sidetracked. It kept pulling me in different, going in different directions. So the hard part about these debates is staying on track with them, because they like to pull things one way or the other a lot of times, and then we never get back to what we were talking about. So what's really scary is they gossip so much they're literally judge and jury about everything. Yeah, like they weren't really understanding what I was saying in that regard. And thank you, King, for that word, because it was essentially what was going on. I was trying to say, like, you don't even know what you're talking about. Like, you're making an assumption about these things. Like, you don't know that he was doing that. Well, I heard from my friend who was a drug advisor at Burning Man who talked to Elon personally about how he does K, about white powder. I'm like, what? It's all secondhand? Like, it's all secondhand information. And not only that, but there's really nothing to verify it. It's not a source. It's a story. Yeah, I saw Elon once. He was all fidgety and quite honestly, it was so obvious that he was on K, and you shouldn't be doing that that is just awful. Like, huh? Literally sitting in an echo chamber complaining that Shaggy is the one not woke to what's going on. Yeah. In psychology, they're called compulsive liars. Yeah. They literally found powder in the White House during the last administration. Yeah. And the thing is I honestly don't care about Hunter Biden and his drug use. I don't give a shit. Would I prefer he didn't do it and be gratuitous about it? Absolutely. But that was something I didn't get to explain. There's a difference between Elon and Hunter Biden. One, Hunter is out of control with it, and I would argue that as of right this moment, Elon, if he is a addict, is very much in control of it, as he's highly functioning in that form. And they even said that he took it for his depression. He says he's taking it for his depression. So it's just disanalogous at that point. I don't, again, just the disingenuous nature of the debate. And yeah, sorry, but I do think it's different. I think the bigger issue I have with Hunter Biden is all his misdealings, alleged misdealings, with other countries. It was just a stupid thing, but does anyone really think Elon would make the Roman salute at that event? I don't. And this is what I said. I stick by what I said. Is like, do I think it was bad timing? Yeah. Like again, I think, and this is stuff you can't explain to this group. I think it's one bad timing. I think it's just. It looks just close enough to the thing that it's bad optics. And I think the other is he doesn't give a shit because it's Elon. And he's not going to apologize for the reasons I said in the debate or in the discussion. He's a firm believer in not apologizing to your opponent. He's not going to apologize for what he did. I don't necessarily blame him because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. The vast majority of the loud voices on Twitter don't give a shit. It's hilarious to me. These debates are my absolute favorite, by the way. I know everyone here observes these as like a train wreck, and I might lose followers every time I do them. I honestly don't care. Like these are some of the best pieces of content that are out there, bar none. Sorry to say. He and Trump both do things and just keep moving, and that drives them crazy. Yeah, and again, I think Elon and Trump are both cringe for their own reasons. I think they mishandle their social media. I think they could spend a lot less time tweeting and a lot more time working, quite honestly. Pixel Twitch says, it's just so funny how prices are growing because of inflation that caused by Central. Most small business are only cash because taxes are horrible and all they care about is, oh no, Elon is rude. Oh, sorry for my English. I'm Ukrainian. No, it's all good, man. I mean, that's what it's been with the Orange Man, Pixel, is that, when it comes to Trump, he's rude, so we don't like him. You can't be rude. You're not allowed to be rude as a president. Or any public figure for that matter. So, but no one should be surprised that this is the attitude. Because it's been like it's what the liberal news has been feeding everyone. I bet you if I'd asked them if they believe that Trump said there's very fine people on both sides, if they believe that that's what he said, they would have said yes. I'm willing to bet. Skirmitter, what's up, man? Good to see you, brother. You just missed an amazing debate with some people on TikTok. A lot of fun. But yeah. 3 hours. 3 hours and 15 minutes. This is why we need Greenland, a place to deploy. Amazing, don't you? I'm trying out a new. Hey, trying to. Let me see. I have some new commands. Some new commands that people can use in some events. So, did you catch Mentis Wave's video explaining TDS earlier today? I did not. No, I did not. Those lasers do well in ice caves of Greenland. What is this? There's a. That work? Not there. Let's see if it works on Twitch. Oh, it does work on Twitch. If you bite the hand that feeds you, it won't taste as the food you were fed. It won't taste as good as the food you were fed. Huh. I like that. So Twitch has some new commands. That's cool. It is exciting to get an Iron Dome of our own. Have you heard of Mentis Wave? I have not, actually. Is it a YouTuber? Oh boy. How long is it? 25 minutes? That's not bad. I'll sub. Oh man, they have the thumbnails. They have those thumbnails. Well, listen, y'all. This has been fun. It's been amazing. Amazing. But tomorrow night we have the midweek hump, 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time. We're going to be joined by Vex Electronica. She's joining us for a bit tomorrow. Excuse me. And I'm really looking forward to it. She's a good friend, good people. I sub to him, Silvar, so I'll check him out. By the way, I'm against Canada becoming 51st state because Democrats would just have one state for that. By the way, Western Canada, very conservative. By the way, Western Canada is very conservative. Is there anyone? I've never done this, but see if there's anyone I know that's streaming on YouTube. And no one I know is streaming. Okay. All right, y'all. You need to be good. Take care of one another. Love one another. We'll see you back here tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Come back, hang out for the midweek hump. Vex Electronica joining. That's it for me. See you guys next time. Doodles.
I like to put stuff online.